This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Yes, we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1.
Good morning. I don't know if we could call it a good morning. We'll try to make it the best we can.
Somber.
Yes, it's one of those days where you're going to be hurting all day long, especially if you're an older fan. If you're a younger fan, you're just going to hear about the stories like you have for so many years. But unfortunately, we have lost Don Shula. Don Shula passed away today, and he has lived a complete life. That's the good thing about it. There's no doubt that the man was able to live a complete life, but meant so much to all of us here in South Florida as sports fans. And, you know, for a lot of us, for a guy like myself, my love for sport pretty much started with the Dolphins and Don Shula, right? Because, you know, I'm born in 66, the year pretty much the franchise was born. And you look at the history of the franchise as I'm growing up, that's what I had here. I had the Canes, and then later on we would add the Strikers in the late 70s and early 90s. And so it was one of those things that Don Shula was the first one to create a love affair for us. Because, you know, Canes football has been able to do that. Canes baseball, to a certain extent, did it. And then, obviously, the Heat was the next franchise that was able, even though the Marlins have won 2 titles in 97 and 03, it really wasn't some kind of a crazy wave or anything like that. It was more sporadic, and it was just, you know, 2 separate teams, 2 separate eras that won it at the perfect time. But it wasn't like there was a roll going on. Like the Miami Heat have been on a roll since Pat Riley took over, okay? And I know they've had a couple of down years and all that, and some of those, you know, hairy years here with some of those bad contracts. But overall, the Riley run is a lot like the Shula run, right? A lot of winning, a lot of trips to the playoffs, a lot of division titles, trips to the championship game and the Super Bowl. And Shula was the first guy in this town to create a sports love affair. Others have done it now, like I just mentioned, and they've increased our love and our dedication to sports. But Shula was the first guy. Shula was the guy that brought on the undefeated season that we are still talking about to this day, the season that everybody else talks about because they're the only ones that did it. You know, Shula's the first guy to be an icon as a coach here. Shula's the first guy to give us the confidence. And I've talked about this before in the show over the years, is I'm dying to have the confidence once again when you're walking into Hard Rock Stadium that you feel good pretty much every single week that you're going to win. Because that's what Shula gave us. You know, and when a guy like Shula comes to your town and changes your culture, and I know that it was a short time because it was just the expansion years, you know, and Coach Wilson did the best he could. He was limited. I mean, you know, heck, he had his son as a backup quarterback. You know what I mean? So it's one of those crazy things. And, you know, this is a guy that started it all here in South Florida. And he put Miami on the map. He put Miami Dolphins on the map. He made them one of the elite teams in football. And I know, sadly, what's gone on for the last 20-something years has kind of torn down everything that Shula built. But it shows you that what he built was so long-lasting that people don't forget it. I'll never forget it. You'll never forget it. You know, a lot of us that experienced it will never forget it. And on the flip side of all of this, okay, Shula's the guy that also brought in a standard that now everybody else is held to. And if you're a coach coming in to coach the Dolphins and your team is undisciplined, you will be then referred to, well, Shula teams were never undisciplined. That's why they gave themselves a chance. In fact, this year, when we saw what Coach Flores did with his team, we were like, wow, that's Shula-esque. And I know young people are like, oh, God, they're bringing up the past again. Well, yeah, I know, but that's what you're measured against. Right? If you coach for the Miami Heat, you will be measured against Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. It's just the way it is. Whenever Spo steps down, the next guy will have to hold up to what those guys did. Just the way it goes. Because Riley has created that same thing that Shula created. Only difference is Shula didn't become the executive to then run the organization. That's a whole different ballgame. But they both kind of created this. And Shula is the guy that set that standard. That when you talk about smart teams, you talk about a Shula team. When you talk about a disciplined team, you talk about a Shula team. When you talk about a team that is dedicated to winning, you're talking about a Shula team. You know, standards. When you talk about professionalism, you talk about a Shula team. They just carried themselves, played the right way. And you always felt, even in a loss, it wasn't like you felt like, well, they got out-coached, they got outplayed, they got out-hustled. No, they just lost. They were better this time around. And over the last 20 years, we point at incompetence a lot of times on our side. And we say, well, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, they didn't do that. And guess who you get compared to? Because the last person to do it right in every way, shape, and form, his name is Don Shula. Pat Riley does it right every way. Now, is he perfect? Of course not. He signs James Johnson and all that. Well, that's why Shula traded for Eric Green, and it didn't work out. And you trade away Anthony Carter for Robin Senline. Things happen. Nobody's going to be perfect. Even the great ones are going to have their moments of imperfection. But that's what makes them human. But overall, when you measure what you've done, the positives that Shula that left outweigh the very few negatives. The guy had 2 losing seasons. I remember a 500 season. It was rare. Why? Because he maintained a standard. And in today's world, it's, well, you got to tank in order to get back a good draft pick. Well, Shula never tanked. And yet his teams were always in the playoffs. And his teams were always contenders. And he went to Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. 4, if you want to call Woodstock a combination, actually. You know what I mean? As a Dolphin coach. I'm not talking about the Colts either, because that would be a 5th or a 4th quarterback. I don't know how you want to look at it. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's setting a standard. That's what Shula did. And now everybody else gets measured by it. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what sport you are. A lot of times when we look at Riley, we go, well, there's a lot of Shula. We can relate with a lot of Shula. Riley's about discipline. Riley's about his players being in condition. Riley's about players being smart. All those kind of things. The foundation of winning that came from Shula, a lot of it you see with Riley. And I mention Riley a lot in this conversation because he deserves to be mentioned, because he needs to also be looked at in that same light. And so today, while we talk about, obviously, the GOAT, Don Shula, it's a man that will be missed and a standard that hasn't been met since. I don't know if it will ever be met again in a Dolphins uniform. I don't know. That's high praise. That's a high watermark to reach to for any coach. I would love to see Coach Flores reach that pinnacle. But there's no doubt that there's more pressure on Brian Flores and every other coach that's taken over because that man did all the right things, and it's hard. Think about this. It's hard to do the right thing all the time. Yet, whether it was finding a playbook from the opponent and returning it and not wanting to look at it, that was Don Shula. Assistant coach finds a playbook. I think it was the Chiefs playbook, if I'm correct. And it was like, hey, we found a playbook. And he's like, I don't even want to look at it. Don't open it. Put it in an envelope and send it right back right away. That was Don Shula. He wanted things done the right way. And in this world, I always have fun with this. I always point out how perfect Tim Tebow and Russell Wilson are, right? Because I envy them. I mean, there's no way I could ever be like those guys. I could never be as perfect as those guys. I could never handle every situation as perfectly as those guys. And Don Shula was that guy. The guy that knew how to handle everything pretty much the right way. Hard to find those kind of individuals. Those are the people you admire. And that's why today, when you're watching, ESPN and you're watching the NFL Network, the guy they're going to be celebrating, the guy they're going to be talking a lot about is going to be Don Shula because of the groundwork he laid, the perfection. His perfection wasn't just his 72 record. Okay? His perfection was the way he carried his life and the way he demanded what he got from himself, what he demanded from others. And there's a reason why that organization got to the point where it was. Those of us that grew up with it, we grew up with a great organization. We grew up with pride, because even your opposing fans growing up, even if they hated you, they respected you because of that dude. Because when you know that dude does things the right way, you can't fight it. You can't argue it. You can diss Belichick, right? Because there's all these question marks. Even though he's the great and the GOAT and all that and the 6 titles and a couple as an assistant and all that, but he's got Deflategate, he's got Spygate, he's got all those things. None of that's ever tied to Shula. You'd never be able to ever tie anything like that to Shula because Shula would not have any of that kind of stuff involved in his organization. He didn't want even the sheer doubt to be there. Forget an accusation, forget any proof. He didn't even want any kind of doubt to be associated with anything he did. Do you know how difficult that is? Do you know how tempting it is in sports to try to get an edge on anything and everything that you're doing? And they all do it nowadays. And they're all trying to get some kind of an edge. That dude was cut from a different cloth. That guy did it the right way all the time. And he tried to teach his players, even though I'm sure it wasn't easy, and I'm sure he wasn't successful because you're not going to reach everybody. Everybody doesn't want to be reached, as you all know in today's world. When you're dead set in your thinking, you're going to go down that path. And Don Shula never went down the other path. He went down the right path. It's hard for all of us we all veer off to the wrong path at one point or another. We do something we regret. We say something we regret, and because we're not perfect, we're human beings. This is a dude that is pretty close to perfect in his own right, which is pretty tough in that kind of environment that's as cutthroat as it gets.
One of my favorite stories, the older players talking about him having them practice how they stand for the national anthem. They would even practice that. That's how, like, this guy, from the time you hit the field, perfection. You look like a football player. You conducted yourself, you know what I mean, in a certain way. And to hear them old players talk about, yeah, we were standing out there for half an hour, 40 minutes, how we held our helmet and standing on the sideline for the national anthem, practicing that, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. By the way, today we will have Richmond Webb on at 11:30. So we'll talk to Shula's left tackle here on the program. So we'll get some Richmond Webb stories here on the show, and we'll have a little fun with him because he is just absolutely fantastic, and just a really, really good dude. I've known Richmond for a long time, and let me see. Okay, all right, I got it now. All right, I got you here. All right, perfect. All right, how about that? Okay, we'll talk to Richmond Webb at 11:30. We'll have the left guard at noon, Keith Sims. Okay, so there you go. How about that for a 1-2 punch with Richmond Webb at 11:30 and Keith Sims at noon? You all right with that? You all right with that?
That is super impressive, man, to put this together under an hour.
Yeah, so we're still working on a couple other people to try to see to get on. So we'll talk to Richmond Webb at 11:30 and Keith Sims at noon. Both guys drafted by Shula. Both guys played for Don Shula. So we'll definitely get with those guys at 11:30 and at noon, and we'll talk to him. I'm sure on a difficult day for him, for a lot of us. For me, it's one of those where it's heartbreaking, man. It's just heartbreaking is what it is, because, hey, look, he's 90. We all knew it was coming at one point or another. The man is not going to live till 200. But it kind of officially ends that era. You know what I mean? And so the spirit will live on. The level, the expectations are going to live on because he set them. Again, going back to the Heat and Riley, it's an example I can use because it's the only person that has done what Shula did in another sport in this town and has set a standard now. And that's the sad part for Brian Flores and every other coach that has come before him, that this is what you're measured against. And now that book is closed, and we can no longer go back to it. We can't hear from him. We can't see him like we do every year pretty much, where he gets to talk or say something. He's been a part of our lives even after retirement at one point or another, and now that the end of the era has finally happened. And I got to tell you this, for me personally, I wish he could have stuck around for a couple of more years, because I really believe the Dolphins are headed now in the right direction. And this would have been a great moment for Coach Shoes to be around, because he has watched everybody destroy everything he built. The Dolphins are nothing. The Dolphins aren't even close to what he left back in the mid-90s. Okay? But now, with Flores and Greer in place, I just feel like we're headed back in that direction. And because I think in Flores, he might see but it's probably accurate. And so a standard. His standards were that his backups were better than the guys we've had here the last 20 years. I wish he would have stuck around for a couple of more years because I really believe that Chris Greer and Brian Flores would have brought a smile to his face, and he would have been happy that his franchise is now finally headed in the right direction as he passes away. No audio, no sound, audio gone. I don't know what to tell you guys. Let me see. You're back on? Okay, back on. All right. Sorry. I don't know what happened, guys.
It's a little flicker in and out.
Okay.
The intermittent with the ether.
All right. Anyway, so just sad, man. I wish he would have been able to stick around. Let me see. Oh, yeah, here it is. It's I see it. It came back already. All right, let's see what we got. FinFan, let me do a little roll call here before we go to the break. And Richmond Webb, the Duck Dog is in with the RIP. FinFan is in. Sad day. Dolphin Advocate, Mariano, good morning. RIP Don Shula. Gio Milan is chiming in. David Pribben, Gio Milan, Troy Ortez, Rich V, G... I don't know, something Carrier, North Carolina. Should I even say that? Antonio Mendoza, Jamarillo, Desmond Barr from the Bahamas is there. Sad day. Marta Farinas, RIP Shula, 72 Fins logo. Manny, John, I appreciate all of you out there chiming in. Alex Diaz chiming in. Even though I was born in 84, still have the privilege to watch Shula and Marino rip to the greatest coach of all time. Rip the best coach in history. Thank you, Shula, from Man of 1,005 Holds. Mike No Go Zones chiming in with an RIP. Lewis Bryan, I feel like I lost a family member because Coach Shula came here when I was 10 years old. I'm now 58. Miami Kid J, I was a kid in the 90s, and it sucks seeing him retire because I felt like he still had a few years left to coach. All of that. Everybody chime in. Matthew Walker, Bromar Smelly, Alexis, Mario, all of you are chiming in. Appreciate all of you chiming in on the YouTube chat board there. Again, I can't get to all of them, as always, right, because there's so many. We are blessed with the support. Big O, you see the story about reducing fans from 65,000 to 15,000. Shaking my head. I don't like it for the upcoming season. Yeah, but I don't like dead people either, Alex. So, you know what I mean? So if they got to reduce to whatever they got to reduce for social distancing and a certain amount of people are only going to be let in, then you know what? So be it. It's on TV. It's a TV sport anyway.
Got to give to get.
Yeah. So it's either no football or at least football with nobody in the stands or some people in the stands. And even that we're risking until we get major testing. I'm telling you, we have to get to the point where testing is like M&Ms. Like it's super easy to get and super cheap, and you can test players every day and all that stuff. You're going to have to do it. People are talking about once or twice a week. That's not enough because you're not going to be able to track them all day long, and they're going to get away and they're going to go other places and they're going to talk to other people, and you don't know where those other people have been and all that, and they're not going to be tracked. You're not going to sequester them, and you're not going to stop them from doing other things. So you need to test them. That's why I like the way the NBA's handled this. The NBA is the one that, like always, they usually handle things with a little more logic than everybody else. All right, Richmond Webb, drafted by Don Shula. He will join us next.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021 at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All right, we are back.
This is the Big O Show.
And we promised you that Richmond Webb would be kind enough to join us now. First couple of years on the beat, it was during this man's tenure with the Miami Dolphins as Don Shula. I actually covered Don Shula's last couple of years in the league, and this was one of his draft picks in playing left tackle, the great Richmond Webb. Richmond, how are you doing, my friend? How you hanging in there today?
About as good as I guess can be expected considering the news. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Trying to stay COVID free, but the depression will set in a little bit here because, I was talking about this earlier, Richmond. It's what this man meant to all of us, to you as a player, to you as a person, to us as fans, to all of us as society, as an example on how to do things the right way all the freaking time. Even in the worst situations, the man rose above everything to do things the right way. The example he set, people like Don Shula just don't exist that much anymore, my friend.
No, they don't make them like that every day. You're exactly right. And he wasn't just a coach, but philanthropist, teacher, great businessman. You name it. He did it all. So he can't be missed. I mean, he checked all the boxes. That's the best way I can see it.
Yeah. There's no doubt that he definitely set a standard, touched everybody's life, inspired so many. Talk to us for you. What was your first meeting like with Don Shula? How did that go?
Well, the first meeting was probably at minicamp, but before that, he actually was the guy that called me during the draft to let me know that I was being selected by the Dolphins. So that was huge right there. But I learned early to keep my mouth shut because I went and did an interview right after I got drafted, and they said, "What do you think of Coach Shula?" And I never met him. And I said, "Oh, he looked like he's got a suntan. He wears shades on the sideline. That's what his glasses look like on Monday Night Football." And my offensive line coach, rest in peace, John Sandusky, said, "Boy, is he in for a rude shock." So I got there, and I was, tough as nails, football IQ off the charts, but he demanded excellence, and I understand why he won not only just about every year, but through every decade. You think about it, he was successful, and very few people have that type of longevity, especially in coaching, especially in the NFL, to have that type of success. So, like you say, they broke the mold when they made Coach Shula.
What was your most nervous moment with Coach Shula?
Oh, getting called in his office. I remember getting called in his office. I think that was my second year. I hurt my knee in preseason and missed the first 2 games. And man, it was never good if you had to go to Coach Shula's office. So went back there and got chewed out because, I was basically, telling people that I really wasn't healthy, but I was playing. But his whole thing was everybody plays with something. Nobody's healthy throughout the whole 16-game season or whatever it is or whatever. And his advice was, you got to find a way, get the job done. He said, if you're injured, it's different than being, pain or hurt versus being injured. But he said, you got to find a way to get it done. And I walked out of there, I was pissed off, but, after I cooled off and thought about it, I was like, he was right. People don't care about, if you're hurting a little bit or whatever. Matter of fact, defensive guys want to know that because they can say, okay, well, maybe I can do this to gain an advantage. But it just made me focus in more on the mental aspect of it. And I think that's why I had so much success getting called into his office early. And thank goodness, I think that's the only time I remember. But, yeah, it wasn't a pleasant visit if you got called into Coach Shula's office.
And was there a lot of cussing in that meeting there?
He had a wide range of vocabulary, I will say that. So he was a walking thesaurus, I can tell you that. I heard some words that I've definitely heard before with the mic on and definitely with the mic off, so I'll put it that way.
Okay, all right. How was draft day for you with Shula? Talk to us, because obviously the draft back then was a huge difference than the show it is nowadays. So walk me through Shula picking you in the draft.
Got a call that morning from, I think, the Raiders. New Orleans called. The Dolphins, I think Coach Sandusky called, and maybe another team. And basically everybody was saying, if you're there, we're going to take you. And out of those teams, the Dolphins had the first pick, the earliest pick. They had the 9th pick. And, you hear that, but then, you see so much crazy stuff happen on draft day. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. But the thing that was interesting, I was at home with my family in Dallas, and then Chris Singleton was the 8th pick. And as soon as they took him, my phone rang, and it was Coach Shula. I still had to wait the 15 minutes because back then I think first-round pick, you had 15 minutes to select the first-round pick. But he called immediately when they were talking about Chris Singleton and said, okay, we're going to take you. So I knew like 15 minutes before they actually announced it, which was pretty cool. But, man, you're nervous because you're listening to the analysts and they say, well, this guy can use this and that. And then they take somebody else, then they take somebody else. So it was a big weight off my shoulders once I got selected by the Dolphins, and I was definitely happy about that.
So were you shocked that Shula put that kind of trust in you and Keith right away to start you guys and get you going right from the get-go?
Yeah, that was Coach Shula, and I think what else helped was it was 2 veterans that were, well, they wasn't under contract, they was holding out for a better deal. So I think the thing that was instrumental in me and Keith was we gelled right away, and then the other thing was they got both of us signed very early in training camp, so we got a ton of reps in training camp. We basically got all the preseason reps, and the veterans didn't really sign until maybe like the first week of the regular season. So we got a ton of reps with get us prepared. Not saying we were savvy veterans at that time, but he felt comfortable enough to put us on the blind side, which was almost unheard of. And it was, me and Keith was like a match made in heaven. I mean, that was the best thing that could ever happen to me when they drafted him. I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah, no, I mean, for all of us, because you settled that left side of the line for a long, long time, and Dolph fans always felt comfortable. Marino, I'm sure, always felt comfortable with that side of the line. That was one of those things that, hell, we're hoping now that, with the Austin Jacksons and the Robert Hunts of the world and these kind of guys that they just got, that they're able to turn the corner. What is your most memorable moment with Shula that you'll never forget? Something either personal, Richmond, something that happened in the football field, in a meeting room, in a meeting between you and him. Give me something that has always stuck out with you that maybe you don't talk a lot about with Shula.
I think two that comes to mind is when we were in Philly, and he became the winningest coach of all times. I remember we was on the road, and I can't remember what happened to Dan or whatever, or what happened, but Doug
Peterson,
actually the coach of the Eagles, he finished the game, and we won that game. So I remember that, and I can remember my rookie year being selected to the Pro Bowl, and the thing that was about that, he saved my name for last to announce that I had actually made it. So I'll never forget that, because he definitely caught me off guard with that one. I wasn't prepared for that one.
What was it about a Shula team that you could win with Marino, without Marino? They could win in a strike-shortened season. They can, you weren't there, but they got with Woodstock to the Super Bowl. It just, Greasy goes down, Earl Morrall steps in. They don't miss a beat. What is it about that guy that your teams always seem to find a way to overcome adversity?
Well, I think one of it is, like you said, you don't have to be the most talented, but you don't do things to beat yourself. And that was something that we, was instilled early on. Know your assignments, not a bunch of known errors. And not, he was big on being the least penalized teams in the NFL. So it's hard enough to make a first down, but if you got to go 1st and 15 or 1st and 20, it just makes it that much more difficult to keep the chains moving, and vice versa. If you're on defense, you jump offside instead of offense has to go 10 yards, they got to go 5 yards. So just that, and then he had a way of figuring out a way of where the mismatches were, where he felt we could actually win, this and that. And then just being a great game manager, I think that's what it is, like you said, if you got a Marino out and you can still pull out a game, something like that, that's huge. So everybody can't do that, but he had that, and he did it very well.
Richmond, did you see a little of that in Brian Flores? Because they had very little talent, my brother, and they tore it down to the bone, and yet they were one of the least penalized. They were one of the least penalized teams in the NFL. They didn't really do a lot of mistakes and kill themselves, and maybe that's why they won 5 games, because they kept themselves in games. A lot of what you were talking about, Flores showed a little bit of that even in his first year with these guys. Did you see that? Did you notice it?
I think what Coach Flores realized was it's going to be about the team first, and the same thing philosophy with Shula. And I always say you don't have to go reinvent the wheel. There's enough great examples out there that study coaches, Coach Shula. Even he came from Coach Belichick. He's a great coach, but he figured out this is the way we're going to do it. It's going to be about the team first. And if you're not on board, we're going to get you out of there. And it didn't matter whether you were the top of the chart or the bottom of the chart. He had a certain way he was going to do it. And I think guys, they bought into it. And, I thought they drafted great last year. And then, some of the moves they made where we stockpiled all the draft picks this year. And then, the way they managed the draft and everything, free agency, not overpaying for people, this and that. I think he's definitely going to have a lot of success in South Florida.
Yeah, me too. I you know why? Because finally it looks like real football people are making decisions instead of guys that are, trying to buy the shiny objects in free agency, trying to make up mistakes in the draft, all of that. These guys are not like that, man. These guys are old football guys because what a shocker, Richmond. They've realized that you got to build the team from inside out. Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing,
Yeah.
huh, Richmond? How you get like real football people and they figure out that you don't win the game if you don't win at the damn line, right?
It's not rocket science, but he was able to, you know, a lot of people say, well, what are you doing, this and that, and blah, 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 and didn't agree, this and that. And, you know, a lot of fans were unhappy that, you know, some of the moves we were making and this and that. But those same fans will be the ones that's truly happy in the long run. And I thought, you know, I said, hey, it may be a little uncomfortable, it might be a little tough this year, but, man, for the longevity of everything, it's going to be a whole lot better.
Yeah, no, I'm with you all the way. Out of curiosity, did you see anything in Austin Jackson that you like? I don't know how much you watch USC. I don't know how much you know of the kid, but you know a little something about playing left tackle. So I got to ask you about the Dolphins left tackle. What are your thoughts on the young man?
Yeah, I didn't really watch a bunch of USC, but I did see his highlights that they showed during the draft. Seemed like he's very athletic, great footwork, great movement, good body control. I think one of the things people were concerned about is he is young, but that doesn't concern me. He just maybe needs to get a few more reps, but his upside is through the roof. So when you can get a guy that's that athletic that can move and stuff like that, definitely a plus. So I was very excited when I seen. I understand why they took him in the first round. I'll put it that way. Yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah, he is a hell of an athlete. There's no doubt about that. The great Richmond Webb joining us here on the program, drafted by Don Shula on a sad day where we lose the GOAT. Don Shula passes away at the age of 90, the greatest coach of all time in Dolphin history, one of the greatest coaches, period, in all of pro sports. Before I let you go, Richmond, give me your favorite Don Shula moment that might be a little bit more personal to you, for that will always stand out. Give us one.
I think one of the things was, you know, he was big on just not football, but he really valued the charities working. I remember when I first got there, getting involved with the United Way, and he was huge as far as about giving back to people that was less fortunate than, you know, we were. We were truly blessed, and we got to do something that, you know, most people dream of. And he encouraged it and, you know, got me into that and this and that. And it was just like, basically the majority of the team participated. And that's one thing I always have a tremendous amount of respect for him, because he always thought of people that were less fortunate than him, and he instilled that in me. So that's one thing that sticks out.
There you go. The great Richmond Webb joining us on the program. You can follow him on Twitter, by the way, at Richmond Webb. Richmond, thank you for taking some time, my friend. I hope you and the family stay safe during this COVID-19, and we will hang out again. Looking forward to it.
Sounds good, Big O.
You got it,
Thank you very much. Okay.
You got it. My
All right,
pleasure.
bye-bye.
There you go. The great Richmond Webb, man. Good stuff there. His partner, by the way, Keith Sims, will be joining us at the top of the hour. So we'll have the left tackle and the left guard drafted by Don Shula, placed there to start by Don Shula. We will have both of those guys. That's when I started my broadcast career in 91. And so I believe Shula's last year is this. Am I wearing the, you know, I just noticed this. Wasn't it 96? I want to say it was 96. So I covered his last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, whatever it was, last few years. And I remember my first month going to Dolphins camp, and I would just look at Salguero and anybody else asking questions, right? Steve Wine, whatever, you know, any of the guys that were normally out there at that time, Edwin Pope, whatever. all the veterans, all the guys that have been on the beat for a while. I didn't ask a question for a month. Seriously, for an entire month, I never asked a question. I just sat back. I wanted to see what happens in the good moments, in the bad moments. I wanted to see when Shula was pissed, how they would approach him, how they would ask stuff, because I didn't want to get, I didn't want to ask something or say something at the wrong time. You know what I mean? So I did not want to do that. So I kind of like paced myself, because Shula was intimidating, dude. Okay? Because, I mean, think about it. I'm in my 20s. I'm in my mid-20s, and I'm there in front of the icon, and it was like, man, I don't. And back in those days, it wasn't like it was going to go viral or anything, because we didn't have social media or any of that. So even if I made an ass of myself, nobody really was going to find out. But I still didn't want to make an ass of myself. So for a month, I watched everybody ask him questions during good moments and bad moments, just so I can learn how to handle it, because it was Don Shula. 95? Okay, so 96 started Jimmy. Okay, so there you go. All right, so yeah, I mean, just crazy stuff, man. First of all, let me, because you guys are, during the Richmond Webb interview, we had some super chats chiming in. Thank you on the super chats. Thank you for the chatting, period, overall, and everybody tuning in. You guys are just absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Let's see. First of all, FinFan70 chiming in, saying Shula is the GOAT of all GOATs. I'm with you, man. I love shoes. Mario Biovides, or is it Belvides? I'm going to go with Belvides. Okay? I hope I did not butcher it. In memory of Coach Shula. Mario chiming in on the super chat. Thank you, Mario. Appreciate you supporting the show. Yuri Nater saying there will never be another Shula RPI coach. You are so correct, Yuri. Thank you for chiming in. Patrick Mullen says Shula, winningest coach ever, won in every possible way, regardless of scheme or personnel, never cheated. Let's see. Mickey says Pellegrino. Who do you think Belichick is chasing behind and wins? Yes, he is. You're right about that. And now he may never catch up. Let's hope not. Scott Jackson, thank you, Coach Shula. NorCal saying, what's up? Billy the Fourth says, RIP to the Don, the best there ever will be. Steve Neal, Shula was Belichick inspiration. Bill is okay, I can't, come on, guys. Take a little trip with me. Fans can suck a fat one. Their team will be garbage for years. Get used to it. Okay? All right? We got love out there. There's plenty of love there. King Short, we're going to smoke the stinking Pats. FinFan70, anyone remember when Trump almost hired Shula to coach the New Jersey General? I don't think it was close. Big O, great chat with Richmond. Also, no London game this year. Yes, that makes only sense. I feel bad for our London friends out there. I don't feel bad for season ticket holders, because you'd want all 8 home games. Let Miami go to London as a road team from here on out. And you know what? After all these London games, Miami should only go out there as a road team in the future, because hopefully we will be a good team down the line, and they won't have to do that anymore. So there you go. Wow, that's I have so many things to talk about that I prepared for in this show, and then we got hit by the Shula news, which was terrible. And it changes everything that you're going to do. It's like you got to reverse and switch gears, and your entire show changes, right? Because it's not enough to, you start talking about, what's going on in Green Bay and what's going on and all these other things, Andy Dalton and all that. Although, Can I have a little fun with the Andy Dalton thing? Because since I like to have fun with the Dolphin thing, how, everybody wants off the Dolphins team. Wrong, right? Oh, they're tanking. Wrong. Everybody wants to get traded. Wrong. There were so many stories that they were so off on the Dolphins, correct? Oh, no, they're trying to trade up for a tackle. Wrong. Oh, no, they like Herbert over Tua. Wrong. I mean, they had a chance. Did they not have a chance to pick Herbert over Tua? They did, right? I guess they didn't like Herbert over Tua either, right? Wrong. Okay, so let's just continue down the fake news trail. Okay? Oh, Andy Dalton? Oh, no, he's going to the Patriots. Yeah, Belichick, he let go of Brady. He's going to get Andy Dalton. They're going to trade for Andy Dalton. Well, they didn't trade for Andy. No, they're going to wait till, you see, they didn't sign anybody in free agency. They're not going with Jarrett Stidham. They're going to go with Andy Dalton. And then, no, he's going now to Jacksonville. What? No, because they've got Jay Gruden there. He coached them the first 3 years in Cincinnati. He's going to Jacksonville. The Red Rifle signs with the Cowboys in the weekend. Fake news everywhere, bro. Fake news everywhere. I mean, the good news for Dolphin fans is you got such a load of garbage of fake news all year long, right? And all year long, all those reporters just looked terrible because all those stories were wrong, including the tanking. Right? Aren't they supposed to be putting players at risk in their lives and all that stuff? All the over-dramatization, all the lies, all the fake stories. And I saw the Andy Dalton one this week, and it's like nobody had him going to the Cowboys. My man goes to the Cowboys. Nah, he's going to the Patriots. Now, Belichick, he's going to get a guy like Dalton and prove people that he can win with anybody. Well, yeah, he's doing that, but with Stidham, not with Dalton. He wants to prove he can win with Jarrett Stidham, a second-year quarterback that he picks up in the fourth round. He's like, no, I won with a sixth-rounder. I'm going to win with a fourth-rounder now. No, he's going to Jacksonville for sure. No, they've got Jay Gruden there, and they're not going to count on the porn stash all by himself. They're going to bring in Andy Dalton because he's a good guy in the locker room, a good guy in that QB room for Minshew to, bounce things off of. Signs with the Cowboys. Gotta love it, dude. I mean, you gotta absolutely love the fake news. It is great. It's just people are so full of crap. EJD Construction, baby. They are COVID-19 ready. Call Eric right now, 305-318-4978. Save it on that cell phone, folks. They use gloves, masks, along with all other OSHA requirements, so they're looking out for you. Watch out, these companies out there. These companies out there are picking up guys at Home Depot before they show up at your house. Come on, man. This is a professional group. We're not talking about a handyman. We're talking about all out. You want to redo a bathroom. You want to add an addition to your house. You want to improve the man cave, the pool area, whatever. You want to add a jacuzzi. You call EJD Construction, 305-318-4978. You're in quarantine now. You need to fix up the house so you can make it a little nicer for you and more comfortable. Call EJD Construction. They will arrive even on your sales appointment with masks and gloves. First responders, by the way, they get developmental rates. So call them, 305-318-4978 for EJD Construction. Keith Sims, drafted by Don Shula, started next to Richmond Webb. He joins us next.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021 at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
We're back. We promised you Dolphin great Keith Sims would be kind enough to join us. I've known Keith for a long, long time, covering him as a reporter, know him as a friend. He's been a co-host with me. We've worked together. I've known him for a long, Keith, now that I realize I've known you now from the 90s, from the early 90s. That's a long, I feel bad for you that you've known me that long. I mean, that's just torturous for you, man. I'm sorry about that. I apologize that I've tortured your life that long since the 90s. Are you there? Did we lose him? Do we have him? Wait a minute. Keith, are you there?
Hey, hello, this is
There we
Keith.
go. There we go, baby. All right, you got me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, Keith. I just want to say that I'm sorry, dude, that I've tortured you since the mid '90s with our friendship and everything else. So I first of all, I want to apologize that you've had to know me for, I don't know, close to 30 years. That's bad. That's bad for you. I'm sorry.
I apologize, but I think you might be thinking about a different key.
What? Really? Wait a minute.
Obviously, he really doesn't know you. Oh.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Oh, wait a minute. Do we have the right Keith Sims on from the Dolphins?
This is Keith Smith.
Ah, see.
Yeah, I cover the NBA.
Wrong, you got the wrong. I'm sorry, my brother. You got the wrong one there. Hey, I'm sorry, man. We're gonna let you go. I guess my producer called the wrong number or something. I don't know yet. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Anyway, okay. So let's see what we're doing here. Who are you calling, bro? We getting Keith Sims on or what? Only my producer would call somebody, have a conversation with somebody with Keith Sims, talk to him like he's Keith Sims, and it's not even Keith Sims. I mean, it's like, wow, yeah, no, the sad part is you're easily tricked. That's really the sad part. Forget about him. It's you, not him. It's amazing. All right, we're going to try to get Keith Sims on now. We'll see if we can. All right. All right, so we'll get Keith Sims on. Hopefully we'll get the right Keith on, okay? Oh, Lordy, I tell you, bro. This is, this is too funny. Too funny. Let's see. All right, I think we have the right Keith on now. I don't know yet. Bill's producing the show, so you never know. I don't know. We might have Keith Richards on right now. We might be talking more about acid and drugs right now instead of actually talking about Shula. Is this Keith Sims, the one I've known since the early 90s?
Hey, Big O, how you doing today?
That's definitely Keith Sims. That's Keith Sims' voice right there. All right, because somehow or another, Bill called another Keith or something, which is kind of crazy.
Suckered me, man.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I was sitting here waiting for you.
Yeah,
guys,
no, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. So I was just apologizing to the fake Keith that that you have suffered by knowing me for nearly 30 years. So I apologize for that, first of all.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
So, Keith, how are you hanging in there, man, when you heard the news about Coach Shoes passing away, man?
I was pretty surprised and shocked. I mean, we all know he was getting up there in age, and at 90, that's a blessing to hit that number. But in our own family, my wife's grandmother just turned 99. So we have people in our family that are obviously that age and older. So it's still a shock. Such a great man, and to lose somebody like that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. And I know that he's had a full life, which is something we all wish we had. When it first happened and you heard about it, what was your first memory that crossed your mind with Shoes?
Oh, there's so many. I think back to the draft because it just took place last week, and it was 30 years ago that I got the call from Coach Shula. And the first call I got was earlier in the morning. Him and Harvey Green called me, and the first thing he said to me was, "How much do you weigh, Sims?" Because he hadn't had an offensive lineman over 300 pounds, and that was a crazy draft year for anybody who remembers the 1990 draft. It was the first year that juniors were allowed to be in the draft, and that draft was dominated by news that morning about junior sale. But when Shula called me, everyone thought Richmond Webb was going to be taken 5th overall to the San Diego Chargers. And Miami, obviously, the offensive lineman, they had a 9th pick, and he called me to check my weight, and he said, well, if Richmond goes to San Diego, we're going to take you at 9, so you better keep your weight down. So, of course, getting a call like that from Coach Shula, I was ecstatic that I was going to be a Miami Dolphin. Well, lo and behold, the draft changed dramatically when Junior Seau comes out and says he's not going to go to Tampa Bay. If they draft him at 4, he'd go back to school, which then triggered a whole domino. Instead of San Diego taking Richmond, they took Junior Seau. Miami's sitting there at 9 saying, Richmond Webb, we got to take him, a tackle over a guard. And I ended up going to Miami in the 2nd round, which ended up being a blessing because I got to play for such a great organization, Hall of Fame coach with my buddy Richmond, who I was talking to today about the whole scenario. So that's a memory that kind of flooded back to me first when I heard that news.
When you think of Shula, is there anybody nowadays that even comes close that reminds you of him?
It's such a different era now for players and coaches. Shula had total authority within that organization to do what he needed to do. Players at that time, whether it was because of our salaries we were making or what have you, with lack of free agency, players didn't have the same power that they do today. So I think it'd be very difficult. I think it'd be next to impossible to duplicate what Coach Shula was able to do to coach for that many years in an organization through the ups and downs. And obviously he had some great ups, the 72 team and the 2 Super Bowl championships and 3 in a row. And so I don't know. I mean, Belichick has been on a tremendous run, but there's a lot of people that think there should be an asterisk by his name because of all the scandals they've done. Shula did all that greatness, 347 wins, without the scandals, without the cheating, without any of that stuff. So I think he will be unmatched forever.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Although I was having some fun with Richmond earlier, and I got to tell you, Flores reminded me a little Shula, man. I know it's way too early to say anything like that, but the fact that he tore it down, had so many young guys, and they were one of the least penalized teams, and the fact that they didn't screw themselves on a consistent basis which is what you expect from expansion teams, young teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's normal for you to make mistakes and screw up. The fact that a Flores team showed that much discipline, that kind of reminded me of your guy.
Definitely. Coach Shula preached discipline, whether it be in practice. He didn't want you to make those mistakes, and certainly not in a game. And you mentioned Coach Flores. He's made me even a more staunch Dolphin fan because of what he was able to do last year. And I truly believe in the organization. Once again, I believe in direction. I'm all in on what their plans are. I mean, I'm ecstatic that we've hopefully got our quarterback for the next 15 years in Tua. Watching him, living in Georgia most of the time, I get a lot of Alabama football up here. And obviously Georgia, I'm 25 miles from the University of Georgia, so the Bulldogs are huge. So that rivalry has been insane the last couple of years. So I'm well aware of his talents, his charisma, and I'm looking forward to what he can do and bring to the Dolphin Nation. I mean, I wear my Dolphin stuff proud, but now it's even more fun to wear it around here in Georgia, wear that Dolphin gear.
Well, Keith, admit it. All the guys that we had before, they had no plan. There was no rhyme or reason. It changed from one day to another. These guys took over, and they said, no. We're not doing all the stuff that they did in the past. We're tearing it all down. We're going to get rid of everybody. We're going to build through youth. We're not tanking. We're building through youth. But, of course, the agenda out there and all those people that thought they were tanking, they look really stupid because they noticed, oh, wait a minute, they are trying to win, but with young guys. And now that what they do, they have built up in free agency and in the draft. Oh, wait, they're building from the inside out. They're building up the O-lines and D-lines. Wow, what a concept. It just looks like real football people actually are running this thing. Not a bunch of, let's go find this shiny object and let's go buy the most expensive free agents. And that's the way to solve. That's our panacea. No, man, there's no panacea. You got to get blue collar. You got to, tear it down to the bone. It just looks like real football people are running it now. That's what it looks like.
I think it's a lot easier for us fans and even us alumni to look at the blueprint, and we're not privy to every step of it. So we just see the final results. But you can look at it and say, hey, they did have a plan. I mean, I honestly sat here during football season, I'm like, why are they trying to win? Aren't they trying to get the best pick they can for the highest ranked quarterback? But they end up getting the guy who I personally wanted them to get all along. Now, hopefully he will pan out. Hopefully he'll stay healthy. But he's got all the intangibles, all the tools for all of us to look at and say, that should be a success. And then, like you mentioned, not only did they get a quarterback, but they invested not just in free agency, they invested in the draft to bring in the big guys behind that line of scrimmage to protect them both on the offense and defense side of the ball. It looks like the blueprint is they're building something that will be a decade of success, not trying, like you said, to go out and buy the top free agents and kind of piecemeal it together. They did a total strip down, and I believe, and I got my fingers crossed, that what they have done is going to set us up for success for the next decade and beyond in this organization, which these fans, we all are anxious and deserve to see our Dolphins in the national argument and heading toward a Super Bowl, competing for that on a yearly basis like it used to be.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm 1,000% with you. I just see real football people. So, Georgia boy, tell us about Robert Hunt. Well, so tell me, do you like this guy?
It's interesting. I haven't done that much. I could bullcrap you and talk it, but I honestly don't know that much about him in that regard. I'm not. My wife's still a Florida State Seminole, so we've been down for a couple of years, and of course, my Cyclones, Iowa State, has done well. So I'm more involved in following what they do than necessarily Georgia because we're close by. But
how about the Kinley kid? How about the Kinley kid? At least you saw him. So out of the two guards, okay, I figured Louisiana football you're not watching a lot of, but at least the Kinley kid out of Georgia, you saw him. And by the way, he's got a great personality. We just had him on last week. Loved him. So what do you think about Kinley at least?
I think he's a mauler. He's a huge guy. I think he's like 330 pounds. I mean, they touted that offensive line for the University of Georgia last year as the biggest in the nation, that they were going to help Jake Fromm, and that running game has been successful. I mean, playing the SEC is a tough battle. They've done a great job, and I think it's a matter of the transition. Can he make that transition from a run-oriented, pass-laden offense to a pro-style offense? I think he can. There's always going to be a learning curve for NFL linemen coming from college to the NFL. It is very difficult to go from a college scheme to step in and playing effectively. You saw that last year with the draft picks. Yes, you can come in and you can be a body, but are you a successful, positive addition to the team, or are you just taking up space while you're learning on the job? Now, playing in the SEC, will you have a bigger learning curve or a lesser learning curve? That I don't know. It depends on the offensive scheme and what the Dolphins want to do. I believe the Dolphins are going to want to improve their running game next year and moving forward. So I think it'll help them there. But it's also a matter of pass protection. I honestly, and Richmond and I talk about this all the time, we watch some of these games, and I'm shocked at how poorly these offensive lines in the NFL can protect their quarterback and pick up stunts. It is baffling to us. We were able to do it as rookies. Why can't they? But I'm not going to put that on them. They've got to mature and develop in their own time. But I think the numbers and the experience he brings from the SEC and all the draft picks will bode well for the Dolphins. Competition is key, and they've got competition on offensive line now.
The great Keith Sims joining us here on the program, and you can follow him on Twitter, by the way, like I and so many others do at KSims69. Keith, what's your favorite Don Shula moment as a player?
I mean, for me personally, I can remember after I got drafted in probably my second year in the league, I was talking to Shoes. We were coming off the field, and he kind of pulled me aside for a second. He said, Sims, what kind of player do you want to be? And I'm like, well, I'm a starter. I said, I want to be a Pro Bowler. And he looked me dead in the eye, just like Shula could do it. He said, you know what? I'm going to hold you to that standard. From this day forward, I want you to practice and be a Pro Bowler every single day you step on the field. I'm like, okay. So I worked. And after my third season, we were walked in the meeting room. And this is going back to me when the Pro Bowl really meant something. When you were elected, and nothing against the fans, but when you were elected by your peers and by the head coaches in the league, and there weren't second, third, or fourth alternates. I was an alternate twice and never made it. But I was there 3 times when I was elected, and I walked in that meeting room, and they were announcing the Pro Bowl picks, and Shula announced, Marino and Richmond Webb, and then he paused for a second, and he said, I'm really happy to announce this guy. And he said, Keith Sims, you're a Pro Bowl. And my heart was 1,000 times bigger. I was so happy and elated that I had finally achieved that goal. And from that day forward, my relationship with Coach Shula changed. It was like I finally got to the point of he respected me because I had stated publicly to him what I wanted to be, and he had pushed me to get to that level. And I knew what it took to get to that level, and he knew he could count on me to be that kind of player on Sunday. And that was a different kind of relationship. It was a special relationship.
That's a great story right there, because that psychological approach to it was so smart on his part, because it's what you want. So now it allows him to push you to that level, because deep down inside, he knew you were a Pro Bowler. He wanted you to say it. So then that way you're both on the same page. And when he's pushing you, you know what he's pushing you to. So there's a connection and a communication there and a bridge that obviously led to success.
It did. And I'm not going to ever say it was easy under Coach Shula.
Of course.
But just having his respect. You perform, he knows he can count on you, and he didn't have to nag you for the little things. I mean, that's one of the things I loved about Coach Shula. He treated you like a man. Hey, this is what you're supposed to do. I expect you to do it. And when you don't, I'll be calling you in my office. But once you are, I'm going to leave you alone and let you do what you need to do.
I got to say something also that stands out, and I'm sure you had those moments where you saw somebody else that way. But the thing that always stood out when, as a reporter, when you walked in there, you usually dealt with smart dudes, right?
Yeah.
And, Keith, obviously you're smart. Richmond's smart. When we would run into a guy that wasn't very smart, Earthquake Blake or something, guys that weren't necessarily the brightest bulb in the chandelier, did you know right away they were going to struggle on this team because of that guy, that he required intelligence, he required you to use your mind as much as your muscles?
I think particularly on the offensive line, and I'm just going to speak on that area. The Dolphin offense was very complex. And it didn't take long for us to weed out the guys who couldn't do it. I remember we called a running play in practice one day, and you brought up a name I hadn't thought about in a long time, Earthquake. But it was called for me to pull to the right. Eddie was playing the right guard at that spot, and at that point, that play, I pulled, he pulled. We obviously ran into each other. And I was just like, how dumb can you be? I mean, and I don't want to talk so disrespectfully to them, but it didn't take long for the coaches and the players to say, you know what, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it in his offense. And nobody was put on the field if they were a liability mentally, particularly on the offensive line, when your job was to protect Dan Marino. It just wasn't going to happen. So we could tell pretty quickly that there was a mistake in the drafting of the Earthquake there.
Yeah. And physically, the good Lord gave him every ability to be a Pro Bowler, right? In that league, right?
He could lift the gym. 500-plus pounds bench press. He was pretty quick for his size and nimble. But, again, if you can't think in the split second, you certainly couldn't play in our Dolphin offenses.
Yeah. No, I mean, overall, as a fan and even as a media member, you always knew that your teams – that's what reminded me a lot of Shula and Flores this past year, that with very little talent, his team very few times burned themselves, set themselves back or whatever. They committed very little mistakes, and that's why they won 5 games, because they at least gave themselves a fighting chance by not committing a ton of turnovers or stupid penalties. It's amazing how many games you have a chance to win in the NFL when you don't turn over the ball and you don't burn yourself, right? That's all you got to do right there. That's it.
That is something that all the Coach Shula preached that all the time. Jimmy Johnson used to preach all the time, the turnovers, the mistakes, the hidden yardage within a game that people don't realize happens. You make one mental mistake and it could kill a drive, and you only get 11 drives, 10 to 12, 13 drives per game. You cannot afford to make those mistakes, and good teams don't beat themselves like that.
How did Shula walk the fine line of motivation and intimidation? Because there's a level of intimidation that comes with Shula. You felt it as a player. Hell, you felt it as a reporter, dude. When you're around him, you had to ask him the right question. You needed to know your stuff because he was going to challenge you and crush you right there in front of everybody. So what was that fine line that he walked between motivation and intimidation?
I think every player realized or found out pretty quickly that you didn't want to take that walk upstairs to Coach Shula's office. I took a couple of those because as a young player, they say I had a big mouth. I talked a lot to the press, and he didn't like that. He made it clear very early on that wasn't going to fly under his regime. But I think the thing is that players realize the most is we all were not treated the same, and that's okay because those players – I was never treated like Dan Marino was, and I shouldn't have been treated like Dan Marino was. Dan Marino was a Hall of Fame quarterback. He was the key cog in our team. So by him ascending to that position, he got certain things that the rest of us didn't, and that's okay. But that was a motivating factor, like I said, to get from, hey, you're on the team to being, okay, you're a starter, from a starter to you're a good player to you're a great player. You were treated differently on those levels, and it gave you motivation to get there. Coach Shula never said anything, never said a word about it, but you saw it. You craved it. You desired it, and you worked your butt off to move up to those levels. I can remember rookie year, I hung out with Clayton a little bit. He picked me up. We had to go to the doctor one day, and we went. And he was like, let's go to lunch. I'm like, what about practice? Like, I don't worry about that. We got back. He went in the meeting room and nothing. I got back. I got yelled at for 20 minutes. You're not Clayton. You can't do that. And that's okay. I learned early. You want those perks under Coach Shula, you work your tail off, and you become the player he needs you and wants you to be. And then you can get those perks. So I think that was one of those factors, how he motivated players, was the way he treated us all. Now, it wasn't disrespectful to any other player on the team, but you wanted to aspire to be one of the best players on the team.
Who's the guy that got probably the biggest rip job from Shula you'd ever seen?
Oh my goodness! Oh, that's a tough one. I think
many.
And I think that's one of the things that I think he did really well. When he ripped you, it typically wasn't in front of the whole team. I don't remember people getting undressed in front of the whole team. I remember getting undressed in his office over something I said, but he did it in a way where he could break you down, but it didn't jeopardize your position on the team, if that makes any sense. And I think that was a skill set, and he was masterful in manipulating and controlling the different facets of the team, because it's tough. You think about those teams and all the different personalities, and you're letting certain players get away with something or take it easy in this particular area because you knew you could count on them, when others you were driving to be, perfect in practice every day. That's a tough juggling act. I think he was a master of that.
That's that is one special person, and I was talking about this, Keith, that it's great to be Shula for you as a player because you had success under him, for us as fans because we enjoyed that success. But man, the standard he set that then everybody else has to follow. It's like whenever Riley steps down, whoever takes over for the Heat now has to follow that tenure, which is going to be near impossible to match. And that's the thing with Shula. He sets such a standard that, if your team is constantly making mistakes and undisciplined, we're going to go, well, that's not the way Shula did it. And if your team is not smart, we're going to say, well, Shula's players most of the time were the smartest guys on the field, that kind of stuff. All these things that were just staples of what he set up and a standard that he set up, that he makes it near impossible for the people that follow him to maintain it, man.
He does. It'll be tough. But like you said, I believe Coach Flores is in that mode and has the ability to be that type of leader. But remember, Coach Shula has left us with perfection. Only team ever, and it's still unmatched.
Yeah. That in itself right there, hopefully, will never be matched. That way, he stands alone forever up in the clouds, and the good Lord got himself a good one now with Don Shula by his side. Keith Sims, you can follow him on Twitter, the Dolphin Great at KSims69. Keith, I appreciate you taking some time, my friend. Look forward to seeing you down here during a Dolphins game because there's a lot of winning coming up, baby.
Yes, there will be. Stay safe, everyone.
You got it. You be safe out there, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got it.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
All right, there you go. The great Keith Sims, man. He is just absolute pure class. Love having Keith Sims on. That was good.
We got Keith Richards for you next, though.
Probably.
I can't believe that guy. He was just like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, talking Dolphin.
I can't believe you. You're the one dialing the phone. You should see that doesn't say Keith Sims on your call thing. There, pay attention.
You know what it says? It's a couple letters off.
The best part is that I'm sitting here listening to his conversation, and he's having a conversation with that Keith like he's Keith Sims.
Oh, the guy had me duped, man.
No, the guy probably thought, well, let me just be nice with the guy or whatever. And then we put him on air, and then he's like, hey, I don't even know what Keith you called, by the way. I'm still trying to figure out. Once I heard the voice, it was like, what Keith is this? It's like.
Well, you've talked to Keith, obviously, in the past. And
I've worked with Keith.
Yes, exactly.
I've known him for 30 years, practically. 30 years, man. I'm a year removed from knowing, a couple years removed from knowing Keith for 30 years. Damn. That was funny.
We're going to get Keith Richards on, man, with his voice and the cigarettes.
Oh, man. That's too much. Too much. All right, let me tell you a little bit about Craig Zins. Acura of Pembroke Pines, folks. Remember, they've got the loyalty program going on right now. If you own or lease an Acura and looking to buy another one or lease another one, they're going to give you $500 up to $2,000 off. If you're a military veteran or in the military, $750 off. First responders, $750 off. Graduates, $500 off. Come on, man, get on down. Think about this. If you're a nursing graduate in the in the Army, Air Force, whatever, you get all three discounts. I mean, that's kind of crazy. That's a lot of money off a brand new Acura. So get on down there. The ILX is $239, the RDX is $379, and the MDX is $409, baby. So get on down there. Tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines, and you can buy online too. so you don't have to go in and meet people and get in the car and all that. You know the car you want. You can buy it online, and they'll drive it and take it right to your home. How about that? Can't beat that. So get on down to 15601 Pines Boulevard. Tell them that Big O sent you. It's Craig Zins, Acura of Pembroke Pines.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All right, we're back. Hope you enjoyed the interviews with Keith Sims and with Richmond Webb here on the program on a day where Don Shula passes at the age of 90, and just sad stuff, man. I know that it was going to happen eventually. Obviously, at 90 years old, the man had a complete life. I hope I can live to 90. That's all I can tell you. But a man that, you know, I feel when I run into young Dolphin fans, and they have not had a taste of winning or Super Bowls or anything like that, I feel for you. I always say that all the time for young people because you don't know anything except bad Dolphin football. I think now is when you're going to start getting good Dolphin football from here on out because I really like what Greer, Flores, and company are doing, and I think they're going to turn things around because I just think that the things they're doing make so much sense that it leads you in the right direction, you know? And so I'm really excited about that. That's why I said I would have loved to have seen Shula stick around a couple of more years just so when he's stepping out, he's like, man, you know what? They're back to what they used to be, what I made them, and those kind of things, because we let Shula down. I don't think there's any other way for me to phrase it, but we let Shula down. You know, what he built was torn down. And it started in a terrible fashion with Jimmy Johnson. You know, I know Jimmy did a decent job with the Dolphins, making the playoffs 3 out of 4 years. But it was a bad time for all of us because Jimmy was taking his shots at Shula towards the end of Shula's run with the Dolphins. because he was trying to get this job. And then Shula had all those first-round picks, like 19, I believe it was that year. I think Oakland had 21 a couple of years after that. And they had like 19 former first-round picks, and it didn't work, and he left a cap mess. And so Huizinga bought the team and made a big change in getting, pushing Shula out the door and bringing in Jimmy Johnson. And a lot of us had seen what Jimmy did in Dallas, and we thought he was going to bring it here. The problem was the salary cap was not in place in Dallas, where it gave Jimmy flexibility to keep all these players around, where the cap doesn't allow you to do that anymore, to keep everybody. And so Jimmy had a cap here to deal with, and cap problems and everything else that Shula left. And so Shula's run at the end obviously was kind of a not a pretty ending, because he didn't get to, a guy like him should write his ending. And this is why I always tell people about Riley that I learned my lesson, because we had people during the James Johnson and Tyler Johnson and Whiteside, all that. Oh, Riley's old, you got to get rid of him. And I was like, no, he screwed up. I'm the first guy to tell you. Riley screwed up with those guys. But I was the first guy to tell you Riley deserves every chance to get the hell out of this. He needs to write his own ticket. I'm not doing what we did to Shula. Oh, no, the game's passed him by. You got to move on to the new coach and all. No. I'm not doing that with Riley. And look, he got you out of that funk. Okay, they're not a contender yet. I know he was Mr. Optimist and saying, maybe we're a guy close, maybe we don't need it. Yeah, they need a superstar. If not, they're not winning a championship with that team. But whatever. But my point is, Duncan and Kendrick Nunn and Bam and Tyler, all that's been really nice, man. That's been really nice finds, really nice young players to build on. So Riley has now, we gave him the chance. I think a lot of us, some of you that didn't want to, you're looking pretty bad now. But some of you, it's all right. It's understandable. You probably didn't live through the Shula thing. And those of us that made the mistake also back then and said, well, Shula's time is done. Right? And maybe it was. Okay? Maybe it was. But it didn't get any better. That's the bottom line. You know what I mean? Hey, look at Dale Talon. Whatever he did in Chicago, it doesn't matter to me anymore. He's had 10 years here to prove it over and over again, and he doesn't. His time is done. Time to move on. But that's 10 years of failure now by Dale Talon. Okay? That's different. So I'm glad that Riley has had that opportunity to kind of get out of that funk, because nobody's perfect. Shula didn't have time to get out. He didn't have an opportunity to get out of the funk. And we all regret that. And so that's where I think we learned a little bit with Riley. Those of us that were around for both, in other words. Okay?
You think about what Riley did right from day one. And like within a month, man, all them trades that we had guys, and the guys that he had accumulated with the trades, like they're gone. And new guys, and Kevin Willis and all, man, it was like massive turnover.
Yeah.
Within months.
Yep.
You could see this is
Hardaway
a different.
Morning were there, right?
Yeah. It's a different deal.
Yeah. He did the right thing in trying to target players that were disgruntled, like he continues, because Jimmy Butler was the same thing. So that's what he's done all throughout. Shaq was disgruntled. Mason was disgruntled. That's what he does. He targets disgruntled stars in other places, and he brings them here, and he continues to run. And that's why Bradley Beal's been kind of the guy targeted next, because he's part of Washington, and I'm sure he's already tired of what's gone on there. So that's another one of those kind of targets that he's going to do. But my point is that we were able to see Riley get out of that funk, and we could not do that with Shula, unfortunately. And that's the sad part with Shula's run, that he wasn't able to kind of go out on his own. Because now in hindsight, when we think about it, okay, Maybe we should have let him, finish out his run however he wants, just like I believe that's what the Harrisons are going to do with Riley. They're going to let him finish his run whenever the hell he wants to finish his run. Okay? Now, Dale Talon, on the other end, is not Riley and is not Shula, has done nothing for the Panther organization. He's been there 10 years. He's had more than enough. He's had his run. You can move on from that guy. Okay? George Arthur chiming in on the Super Chat. Thank you, sir. Been a fan since I was 7 years old back in 97. I'm ready to see a winning culture in our Dolphins. Fins up, R.I.P. Coach Shula. Nice job by you, George Arthur. Thank you, sir, on the Super Chat. Thank you all who have helped us out on the Super Chat, man. Very nice, very nice. You guys are going to help us grow, help us travel, help us make this the best local show so you can talk Dolphins and Canes and Heat and Marlins and Panthers and Inter and everything else that's out there, man. Miami FC, Himmershey, Miami Beach, you name it. Anything and every pro team in town. FAU, FIU football. Been around here for over 40 years, and I can tell you that Shula had the biggest impact on the community in terms of putting Miami on the sports map. Yes, I agree. There's no doubt about it. But that's because at that point there was no map. You know what I mean? But you listen, Riley did the same thing for us in basketball because we were always a football town because of the Dolphins and the University of Miami, because both have made such an enormous impact in football on the college and the pro levels. And now we're a basketball town too. So you're right about Shula, but Riley's right behind creating a basketball culture in a town that a lot of people never ever imagined that a basketball culture could actually take place. Billy Batson says, fans were crying when Shula to step down, and our fan base has sucked ever since. A bunch of Debbie Downers and crybabies. Yes. It's all Debbie Downers and crybabies. They're so depressing. Let's see. Richard McLean says, Lombardi, Shula, Noel, Landry, my Mount Rushmore. Tommy Italian 305 for life says, been around for 35 years, and I agree with you. King Short says, not me. JJ brought that blue crap into our color scheme and tried to make us look like cowgirls, a-hole. Scott Jackson, I really wanted Jimmy Johnson. He's probably the best evaluator of talent I've ever seen. Jimmy did a nice job on offense here. He sucked on defense. He sucked on offense. Big O, Din and Alfred Oglesby make up a story that he was carjacked because he was scared of Shula's wrath. I think he had overslept and missed practice. Hell, there was a story that he said he got taken by Martians. That's what it was. Yeah, Oglesby, yeah. That was one of those famous stories. Let's see, what else do we have here? Matthew Walker. Oh, no. Okay, that's a shot at somebody else. Okay, that wasn't at me. I get it. Let's see. Robert says, grew up in Carroll City, 1970. Remember Shula pulling up to Town Square station wagon with grain dolphin helmet on door. That's funny. I love Shula, man. That's our guy, man. It's a guy that just created everything here when it comes to football and a winning culture and everything else. You know what? I haven't checked the accidentlawfirm.com text line. Let's do that as you see it right there, 786-322-1105. Remember, on Wednesday, we're going to be at VSS West Pines. Thursday, we'll be at Hollywood, Toyota of Hollywood. And then Friday, we'll be at Craig's Inn, Acura of Pembroke Pines. So we got 3 live appearances this week. Good morning, Big O. One more thing. The video shares about Elon Musk's Starlink satellites in the sky, and the goal is there to be 42,000 satellites. The question is why? Well, this video helps shows a likely connection to vaccines. Okay, I will check it out. Thank you on that. I don't know why any Dolphin would want Josh Rosen to ball the F out. That would put us in such why they wouldn't. Would not. Okay, I see. That would put us in such a powerful position, especially with all the talent that Tua has. The injury concern is present. Go Rosen. Of course, man. You want Rosen to play really well. You want him to explode. Yes, big time. You want as much trade capital as you can get, man. What do you think of the Dolphins signing Juju after the 2020 season? I don't think you do that. Juju's a number 2 wide receiver. I like him, but I'd rather develop our own receivers and sign our own guys instead of going and overpaying in free agency. The day you sign a receiver, it's because you're a receiver away from a title. That's where we got to get back to. We have to unprogram people like you. Okay? Free agency is no longer a necessity anymore. Free agency should be used as a luxury. We're loaded, but we need a defensive end. Let's go to free agency. We're loaded. We need a left tackle. Let's find it in free agency, and we're a title contender. We're loaded, but we need a number 1 wide receiver to get over the hump. Let's go get it in free agency. We're loaded, but we need a running back. You get what I'm saying now? That's free agency. That's what smart teams do with free agency. They don't use free agency to try to make their team good. No. Their team is already good to great. They need that one element to make them championship. Or 2. Whatever, 1 or 2 players. I'm good with that. But free agency should not be the bridge to you being a good team. The bridge to get you to the playoffs. That's loser stuff. That's why the Dolphins were losers for 20-plus years now. Because the losers think like that. If we get Ndamukong Suh, our defense will be dominant and will make the playoffs. That's what losers think. Winners think we're already a playoff team. We need to be a Super Bowl caliber winner. We need this one guy. Let's go get him. We need these 2 guys. Let's go get them. That's it. But if you start needing 3, 4 guys because you hit and you missed here and you missed there and you're trying to make up for in free agency, you're screwed. And forget about it. The Don, Pat Riley, still as iconic in the days, the last dance as he is currently. Yes, he is. John from Ohio, I was rewatching one of my favorite games as a 12-year-old kid in 92 when the Dolphins acquired Keith Jackson and beat the Bills 37-10. Was that team Shula's last best chance at a Super Bowl? Yeah. Yeah, the 92, yeah. Yeah, probably. But the Bills were so good in those days. Big O, I feel like I lost a grandfather, R.I.P. Coach Shula, Nestor, and Coral Springs. We all feel like it's a family member, man. That's normal. Coach passed, Big O. I'm a grown man with 3 kids, and I'm shedding some tears right now. Thank you, Coach, for everything. Thank you for building a Dolphin legacy that will live forever. R.I.P. Cubano in NC. And you know why you do that, Cubano? Why you shed a tear? Because, my brother, he meant so much to you. He meant so much to us. Like, my memories of walking into the Orange Bowl with my father will last forever, bro. Forever. Hanging out with my dad, talking Dolphins, watching Dolphin games, watching them get pissed when they lost. You know, all those kind of things. Those are amazing moments, man. They really are. And they last forever. It's like the young guy that watched Wade and Shaq and Alonzo Mourning win that first title. And when you see Alonzo and everything he went through with the kidney ailment, you see UD and you see Wade, Shaq, whatever. But those 3 guys in that 06 championship, that meant something to you. And Riley brought that to you. You know what I mean? And UD's one of us. And then he wins it. And Wade becomes Wade County. You know what I mean? And Alonzo Mourning became one of us. And, you know, he's done so many good things in our community. And then we watched him go through that kidney ailment. But his love and his desire to win a championship, the dude gets a transplant and fights to come back. And is the most important defensive figure in that 06 series. Those are things that are going to last a lifetime for a generation. Just like watching the championships of the 70s for us young kids, watching us teenagers later on watch, Marino take off. These are things that are going to live forever. Because these two men created those kind of moments. So when you lose a guy like Shula, those moments are tied with friends, family members. Those moments are your greatest moments as a sports fan. That's why they last like that. That's why you have that emotional tie. Because you were waving that hanky, you were high-fiving with your friends, or just five, because there were no high fives in the early days. It was just five. That kind of stuff. High fives didn't come till long after that. But those are the moments. And Shoes gave us those moments. Okay? Gave us those prideful moments. And we walked into the Orange Bowl with incredible, incredible confidence. Pat in Asheville, dude. I can't say enough about your donation, my brother. I appreciate you on Super Chat, man. You have just come through in a big-time way. What year can the Dolphins change back to the classic uniforms with the Shula patch, of course? My donation is made in the memory of Coach Shula. Pat Nashville, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you, man. It's an enormous donation. Thank you, sir, for helping us grow here on the program. I think they've got a couple of years left where they can file for it. I believe it's in the works for them to go back to the old logo. They've never said it. I don't have any insight on it whatsoever, but I think they've gotten enough negative feedback from people. I think they've realized that logo was nothing but a money grab, and they tried to create something new, and it backfired on them. So I think you'll see the old logo come back, maybe with a little bit of a new twist to it, but it'll be basically the old logo. And I think they're going to be smart enough, but it'll be a couple of years still, I can't tell you the exact year, but I think Garfinkel told me once, because I asked him about it, I think you have to wait 10 years until you have that new logo in place in order to then file and then to replace it. So I think we're close to 10 years for the whale. Pretty close. Not exactly sure, but I want to say this is around year 7 or 8 of the whale. Something like that, I want to say. But again, can't say enough. Pat in Asheville. And by the way, is that Asheville like North Carolina? Is that because I hear that place is freaking awesome. I hear it's a beautiful town. Great place to hang out. Great place to raise a family from what I hear. I'm not sure, but that's what I keep hearing about Asheville. Big O, they should wear the throwback uniforms in Shula's honor. I tell you what, Pat in Asheville has got a great idea. A Shula patch. Come on, man. There has to be a Shula patch. That makes all the sense in the world out there, man. There's got to be a Shula patch now. There has to be something, right? Got to do it, man. I don't know. That's but again, Pat in Asheville, thank you on the Super Chat, man. Very, very generous. Appreciate you, my friend. That was really, really nice of you to help us grow that way. So I love that Shula patch, Pat. That would make a ton of sense right now for them to do that. All right, 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, that's 786-322-1105. You got any Shula memories you want to share with us? You can send them in on the program. We do want to remind you that Moody S. Dental is a proud sponsor of our program, And, of course, you can reach out to them at 305-821-0231. That's 305-821-0231. And whether it's implants, Invisaligns, listen, if you're in pain right now, okay, that's a problem, okay? You're in quarantine, you can't move a lot, and you're going to sit in your house in pain. Maybe you need to fill that cavity or the root canal or anything along those lines. Call Moody Dental. They will take care of those emergencies for you. 305-821-0231. You can follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And, of course, go to the website, moodydental.com.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021. At Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Appreciate all of you tuning in, as always, trying to work on some guests, but all of this happened in such short time that to kind of turn things around as quickly as, it's pretty cool that we were able to get Webb and Sims already as it is. I'd like to get a couple more guys on.
I mean, this went down not but 20
No, I
minutes
know,
before
I know,
we
I
went
know,
on.
I know, but it's still.
You've done pretty good considering the crunch of time.
Yeah. No, I'd like to do better as always. There's always room to do better in anything and everything out there. Let me see on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. RIP, Coach. Thank you for all the great memories being a Dolphins fan. And that's Jeff out in Long Island. Jeff, thank you, sir, for keeping it locked here on the program. Jess in Minneapolis. Shula is the man. Damn. Let's see. RVA, pattern my life after Shula is a leader. RIP, Coach. Chiming in. Let's see. Big O, I really wish he could have seen this major turnaround. This is such a sad day, but legends never die. Shula is a legend and much more. RIP. And let me tell you, now that I think about it, celebrating his legacy this year, do we? Do we celebrate Shula's legacy this year if there's nobody in the stands? I mean, we could do something for television purposes. We can do all of that, but we really can't do a real celebration and honor Shula unless we have a packed stadium. So is it going to be a two-part? Is COVID-19 affecting us to the point that we're going to have a multi-part celebration for Don Shula? You know what I mean? Think about this. You celebrate him this year in the stadium, okay, in one of those games where there's not going to be a lot of fans. So you do it more for TV purposes and those kind of things, right? The draft is in Cleveland this year. Man's from Ohio. Dolphins have a big draft interest this year with a lot of picks again in 2021. Who's to say we don't do another little celebration of Shula out there? I think we should, as Dolphin fans. We should do something by that Shula bust at the Hall of Fame next year. And then, once COVID is done, that we have a packed stadium in 2021 guaranteed, then we do a proper celebration for Shula with a packed stadium. Okay? And this is the kind of man we cannot half-ass. He did nothing half-ass.
Oh, I think because of me with my Bears and obviously George S. Hollis, GSH, starting the league, and love the fact that Shula broke his record, all-time coaching. Those are my two coaches. The Dolphins should think about doing something like the GSH on the Bears. Like
we already talked about the Shula patch.
That would be. We
just talked about a Shula patch.
How do you do it?
I don't know, but the Shula patch should be there.
It's a must almost, right?
Yes.
It's a must.
Yes. That was one of our listeners just said that to have a Shula patch. Of course, we should have a Shula patch. But again, you look at what's going on with COVID-19, how it's going to affect it affects everything. You can't watch your loved one die. You can't be there in their worst moment of their life. You can't comfort them. Okay? We got to keep social distance from everybody. Unless, some of these crazy things like in Huntington Beach this past week. Whatever. Anyway, this weekend. Or what was it? Where was it that they were getting in the policemen's faces? Because I guess blue lives don't matter anymore. Where was that at? COVID-19 is changing everything. This cannot be affected. We maybe have to do this in multi-parts because he can't pass away and then we play a whole season and we don't honor the man. So obviously we got to honor the man somehow, but we got to honor the man multiple ways. And maybe it's going to be a multi-part type thing. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, listen, when we all get together in Cleveland next year for the draft, we're all going to do something for Shula. We're all going to meet over at the Hall of Fame, man. Right? I mean, that's what we got to do. We got to do something out there. Because hopefully by that time, we all can hang out with each other. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that we're through all this COVID craziness. And, we don't have to use the social distancing nearly as much. It would be nice, but it's amazing how the whole COVID-19 thing could even affect how we honor one of the greats of all time for our team. 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. That's 786-322-1105. But Pat in Asheville, the Shula patch has to go on. And I would imagine that Tom Garfinkel right now is preparing for that. I hope the Dolphins in the league wear patches on their helmets honoring Shula. I don't know if the league will, but Dolphins will definitely wear some kind of a Shula patch. My memory, my dad was an airplane mechanic at the airport. We lived at DeSoto Drive in Miami Springs. He took me and my little Finn's pennant flag to the airfield to watch the undefeated team walk off the plane. There was no walkway back then. I was 5 years old, saw greatness a few feet away. Shula was like a second dad. You modeled your life after him. Amen to that. Yep. Let's see. It started to go downhill when Wayne Huizenga bought the team. The trash man ruined the Finns. Go to John Carroll University and visit with Shula's memorial. He was from Cleveland. I know. That's what I'm saying. We're going to be there next year. Us Dolphin fans, we're going to be there next year. Okay? And by the way, I'm never going to be that hard on Huizenga. Huizenga didn't ruin the team. He did what he thought was best. And a lot of people wanted Jimmy. And a lot of people wanted Saban. And a lot of people wanted Parcells. And most of us thought those were the right moves. What are you going to do? He tried, man. His hockey team made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Okay? His baseball team won the World Series. And the general manager that he had in place set up the team that won it in 2003. Okay? That's Wayne. I know he didn't have the same luck with the Dolphins, but it wasn't because he didn't try. Because everybody thought Jimmy, Parcells, and Saban were the right moves. I find it to be really, I think it's unnecessary to trash Huizenga that badly. Because most of us agreed with those moves. Most of us thought those were the right moves that would get us back on track. And it didn't happen. But if you look at his track record, I mean, he did pretty good, bro. It's just the Dolphin thing was like a thorn in his side, man. He wasn't a hockey guy or a baseball guy, and he had more success in those sports. How freaking crazy is that? You know, I think some of you out there, you need to take it a little easier on Wayne. I guess we don't give people any kind of love for working their asses off and trying. And if you fail, that's it. There's no way of understanding. I can't do that to Wayne. I don't think it's fair to him. I really don't. Big O, Coach Shula and Mad Dog sharing green lizards together again. R.I.P. James in the DR. It's a good one, James. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, man. And you can enjoy your own green lizard down there in the DR, right? It's called Presidente. Big O, Hector in Massachusetts. Sorry, forgot to mention, how about naming the stadium Don Shula Field at Hard Rock Stadium? No better way for all of us to never forget his name. Thanks, and God bless. I have no problem with that. I don't know if they'll do it, but I have no problem with that. Ziggy Zag from Chicago. I was very lucky to see the Dolphins play the Bears in Chicago. A Coach Shula team beat the Bears in overtime, 16-13. Coach Shula has now been called up to the real big leagues, R.I.P. Thank you, sir, for chiming in and keeping it locked here on our program. As always, I thank all of you out there for chiming in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, here on the YouTube chat board, on the super chat also. That's been very active today. Thank you all for chiming in on the super chat and helping us out. Let's see, they got a Senior Bowl picture with Shula at the Senior Bowl, black and white one. That's actually pretty cool. How about that? A little Senior Bowl. I like it. I like it. Let's see. What else do we have? I'm trying to see if we got anything on the Twitter page. GP Trap Hewitt says, a great coach, but mostly important, a great person. His contributions to the people of South Florida are unmeasured. R.I.P. Coach. Thank you. Thank you so much. Adam Pinkser says, the coach and me on the right, circa early 2000s when Coach Shula spoke at UF. He signed an old Dolphins book I had and was so gracious. Nice job by you, Adam. I like it. I like it. Let's see. Daniel says, there were many faces of South Florida sports over the years, but in the end, there was really only one that towered over all of them. Don Shula, sad day in South Florida, R.I.P. And Campo says, lo mejor de lo mejor. R.I.P. Don Shula. Very good, sir. Very nice by you. Let's see. All right. Alexa V chiming in. Alexa V, thank you on the super chat. She is always listening, always tuning in, and giving us love on the super chat. Thank you, Alexa. Very nice of you. David Pridham says, diehard Finns fans here. We're recalling for change after 95's disappointment. Everyone should look in the mirror. Shula should have been able to coach out his contract. Hindsight's 2020, my friend. You know, that's why I've never taken the stance of, get rid of Riley during the bad times here. Because I'm not going to be an ungrateful bastard like I was during Shula's tenure, where I was, it's time to change. The old man's lost his fastball. Bring in Jimmy Johnson. You see what he did with Dallas? He'll do it with us. Problem is there was no Mike Lynn, and there's a salary cap in place. So there wasn't a Mike Lynn to give you 4,000 picks, and there's a salary cap controlling the fact that you can't keep everybody anymore. You know, that kind of stuff. So that was the biggest difference there. So we got to learn from one lesson to lead to another. And that's how life is, right? We don't build houses up to code here in South Florida. We do it after Andrew destroys Homestead. And then we say, hey, it might be a good idea for us to build up our homes to maybe withstand stronger winds. Yeah, let's do that. But we only do that after we lost a whole bunch of people, and tons of people lost everything. Then we say that. Okay? We also say, hey, you know, I think we now need to upgrade the levees in New Orleans, because if there's another storm like Katrina, it's going to cause devastating damage and thousands will die. But we do that after the storm has destroyed and killed thousands. Then we fix the levees. That's how we are in this society, man. In every walk of life, sports, news, weather, politics, you name it. We like to make our mistake first. Learn from the mistake sometimes. Sometimes we make the mistake and we never learn from it. That's really bad. All right, it's really bad when you're making the same mistake over and over and over again. Now, that would be terror. Now, so it's, I feel like most of you out there, the ones that I was hearing that was saying that you wanted Riley fired a couple years ago, or even last year, before even this season, you didn't live the Shula thing, or you didn't experience it. You didn't really experience it, or you were too young. And, you know, you're an ungrateful, like we were in the mid-90s. Maybe it's not that. That's just, why don't we let him, you know, work his way out of it? And now we're willing to do that because some of us learned our lesson. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't politicize it. It's not a Democratic thing. It's not a Republican thing. It's not a white thing. It's not a yellow thing, a brown thing, a black thing, a green thing. It's not a religious thing. It's not a sex thing. It's just human nature, man. Human nature. That's all. Your parents, how many times do they tell you not to do something as you're growing up? And you do it anyways, and then you screw up, and then that's when you learned. Why? You got to experience it. Again, has nothing to do with politics, nothing with sex, nothing with religion, just life. That's all it is. And if they would have fired Riley, then the younger people or the people that are asking for it and didn't live through the Shula experience, they would have learned the lesson we learned in the 90s. Certain people have earned a right to let them write their ticket out, okay? They've given you the kind of pleasure that you were never going to get anywhere else, sporting-wise. So in return, let them go out with grace and class and the way they want to, go out, because they've earned that right. Pat Riley has earned that right to say, I'm done now. I'm done next year. I'm done 5 years from now. Whenever the hell Pat Riley wants to step out, I'll be disappointed. But I will not be the guy that pushes Pat Riley out. I will not be the guy that says, fire Pat Riley. No. No. I made the mistake once. And it was with the late Shula. And I'll admit it. I was one of those that was buying into the Jimmy hype. I admit it. Most everybody was. I mean, give me a break.
Look what he did with Landry.
I know.
And won the Super Bowls.
They pushed one other legend out, and so we all thought the same. Look, man, at that time, less than 1% of the people out there wanted Shula still in place. Most everybody wanted Shula out.
If we didn't have Jimmy coming, it would have been keep Shula in place. The fact that we had Jimmy coming,
and
that was a Miami guy, and saw what he did in Dallas and how quickly, yes, of course, and how quickly he turned over Dallas, 1-15 to 2 years later, Super Bowl.
Right. It's still rare to win a national championship in college and a Super Bowl. Not a lot of dudes do that,
Barry Switzer's got his only because
but that's
Jimmy's guys.
Right.
Yes.
No, but Saban and Jimmy are the kind of people that do that, But outside of that, and not that Saban has done it in the NFL, but that's the kind of guy you would target that would say, okay, maybe he can do it. You know what I mean? It's rare, man, that you have guys that have done both, And so we thought Jimmy was like God because he won it with the U and then he won it with Dallas. And we're like, okay. Most people that tell you, oh, I didn't want Shula fired, they're lying. They're lying. It was almost near impossible to run into somebody that didn't want Shula changed at that point for Jimmy Johnson. Not anybody else. It was Jimmy. Jimmy was the one guy. And that's the sad part. And that's the sad part for Shula. That's the sad part for us. I'm sure that's the sad part for, Wayne Huizenga to a certain extent because he tried to always bring in another great coach and he just could not get it done. It's the weirdest thing for Huizenga, man. Weird thing for Huizenga, how he had so much success in business and then he had success in his other two sports. Huizenga was dying to win so badly. The team now he didn't really take a lot of heat. Tommy Italian says, let's see. Richard McLean. Is that Twu? Is it Twu? Is it Twu? Twu is it? That is going in and out.
I see it locking up every once in a while.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's on an ether. We're not Wi-Fi.
All right. I don't know. I'm raised, and it's not up. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's weird. That seems like it's a connection thing. Yeah, that seems, because that doesn't seem like that's a connection thing, because it's not going bad. So I don't know what it is. Switch out cables or something. Let's do this. You know what? Let's take a quick break here. We're going to switch out our audio cable here maybe, because that doesn't seem. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I see the picture locking up on the screen.
Well, I don't see anything here. There's nothing. When it goes out, there's nothing at all. Like it's dancing or anything. Like it's what's that called? So that's the problem. When it does go out, you don't see anything, like it's freezing up. Yeah. Somebody says, thought it was me. Big O, do you have a favorite interview or moment with Shula? I never got. I was a reporter in those days, and it's funny. Let's do this, because just in case, we're going to switch out this cable. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. Give us 2 minutes here and switch out the cable and see what's going on, and we'll try that. Back with more right here on the Big O Show.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021 at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show.
We back. All righty. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Man, we are about to hit 3 hours. We're a half hour away from 3 hours. That's crazy. On a terribly sad day. On a day where look, 90 is not, we didn't lose them early. You know what I mean? But because that's the one thing, we can't feel like his family got cheated. He got cheated. You know, the man, like I lost my dad at 51. I'm 53, man. I've already outlived my dad by 2 years. That's when you feel like crap. You know what I mean? You feel good that Shula had a complete life. That's the part that you feel happy about for him, for his career, for his family, obviously. But the sad part is that you never want to lose him, that you want to keep him around forever, right? You want to keep your mom and dad around forever, right? You lose them at 85, 90, 95, 100, you're still going to be terribly sad at that point. But at least you're going to be happy for them that they lived a complete life. When we see people and we lose them in their teens and 20s and 30s and things like that, we think about, wow, they had a whole life to live still, you know, and that's the good thing about Shula, is that he was able to live that complete life. This was the day that we all feared. This was the day we all didn't want to talk about. We knew it was coming because it's coming for all of us. We're all not going to live forever, unfortunately. You know what I mean? But, you know, on a day like today, you get torn apart because there are so many great memories. And he helped bring those memories. You know what I mean? And let's give Joe Robbie also a little love here in this process, okay? Excuse me. Let's give Joe Robbie some love here in all of this, because Joe was the guy that made that decision. And just like when Mickey took over the Heat, his first decision was to hire Pat Riley. And for Joe Robbie to find a way to bring Shula in a trade with the Colts, that is the moment that everything changed. Because we have no idea what the Dolphins would have been from that point on if you're not able to acquire Shula. We're not able to experience the 70s and the 80s and early 90s. We have no idea. We might be the Bungles for our entire existence. Think about that. Let that crap marinate there a little bit. We might be the Arizona Cardinals.
Makes us feel bad about complaining about just making the playoffs all those years.
Right,
you
right.
know?
That's how much Shula spoiled you. That we got to a point that making the playoffs and winning just 10 games wasn't that impressive anymore. Yeah, for you youngins out there, that's how people used to think. Shula raised the bar so freaking high that just making the playoffs wasn't enough anymore. You had to make a run. Yeah, you're going to see that if the Patriots fail to make the playoffs and they start falling short over the next couple of years, not this year they kind of get a pass. Whatever happens, they're going to get a pass. If they don't make the playoffs this year, but it's year 2. If year 2 they don't make the playoffs and they have another bad year or something like that, that's when people will start to question Belichick. You'll see. It'll happen because they're so spoiled over there, and they're even more spoiled than we are, okay? Because their spoil is, titles. They got 6 titles over there. So for them, it's title or bust. For us, it was, well, you need 11, 12, 13 wins, but yeah, you got to get to at least an AFC championship game for us to feel good about the team. I mean, it was kind of that ridiculous. Like if you made the playoffs and got eliminated in that first week, we were livid down here. Okay? And if any of you young people out there got an older brother or father or grandfather, ask them. You'll see. They'll verify exactly what I'm saying. That's how insane in the brain we were. Okay? That's how spoiled, that's how out of touch. All those kind of adjectives you want to use to describe us, we deserve every single one of them. We were completely out of line. Sorry, Don. Oh, by the way, is everything fine with the mic now? Everything sound good? I guess we're not getting any let's see. I guess nothing, right? Everything good? Looks like it. Okay. I guess so. There we go. David says 93 sitting at 9-2 without Marino and Shula was coach of the year candidate. Then more injuries, 5 losses, and non-playoffs. Things seem to go downhill after that. Yeah. The salary cap had set in. It was a new monster for Shula. It was a new adjustment that he had to make, and he wasn't ready for it. That was an adjustment that was going to take him a while. In fact, one of the good things that Jimmy did besides the defense, and a lot of people don't give Jimmy enough credit, he inherited a terrible salary cap issue that Shula left, and he had to straighten that out, and he did. Revo 13 says, saw Shula in the Orange Bowl beat the Oilers during the undefeated season. Nice. Let's see. I once had surgery, and you guys know how the Dolphins would visit Children's Hospital. I met Jason Taylor, best day of my life, because not really because I was in pain. That's what Alexa V says. I'm sure you were cured after Jason Taylor met you. Let's see. Drubo says, I can't wait till we have an O-line again. I know it's coming. That's what she said. Okay, there we go, Drubo. Robin's send line for Carter was the worst trade for Shula. Yes. No, there's no doubt about that, my brother. We haven't recovered from that one yet. Let's see. Colts got Don McCulley. We got Don Shula. Bring back the Orange Bowl. Well, that one you got to let go. You sound great, oh. Thank you. Yes, you are good now. Okay. So there we go. So everybody's chiming in that the mic is working nice and good. So all perfect now. We looks like it's all right. Looks like that other cable, you better check it out there. It might be It might not be good, man. It might be struggling, as they say. The cable might be struggling. Let's see. Oh, Dolphins, by the way, will not be playing in London this year. That's the news that came out. It looks like because of COVID, which I think we kind of, expected this. But I'm hoping that down the line, Miami from here on out is playing as a visiting team in London. Okay? That's what I'm hoping. All right? No more home teams because I expect Miami to get better and better from here on out. So I don't want them to lose a home game. I want our friends in London to see the Dolphins in person. That's fine, but make it when it's a road game. Okay? That's all I'm asking. That's all I need. Tommy Italian 305 for life has chimed in on the super chat, and he puts in, just want to say, Big O, that you're the only Miami sports guy I respect, and a huge shout out to my favorite coach ever, Shula. Wow, that is very nice, my man. Thank you, Tommy Italian 305 for life. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you chiming in on the super chat coming through, man. Very nice. You got that? You good? Did you just switch cables? You're using the cable I was using? How you sound? Let's see.
Yes, I did.
All right.
Looks like it's hitting the meters
right now. Right now, it's working fine. It'll be interesting to see if yours craps out at any moment when you raise it.
Well, we'll see. I mean, only time will tell. But I think, because I saw it going intermittent, the screen grid a little bleedy over here, I think that was more the connection.
I just didn't see it dancing when I saw myself.
You saw it. You weren't. It wasn't. It was.
But I was seeing myself. No. I had the volume up, and I would see myself move and talk. You could tell the mic was not working, and then boom, the mic kicked in. Usually, if it's frozen and it's just spinning, I will be frozen.
Right. I see what you're saying. Well, like I said, like you told me, cords do wear out. We'll see.
We're not frozen. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that kind of stuff. So, yes. So good. Dolphins won't be playing in London. This is not the year to go send our boys overseas, just in case. Nothing against the great folks in London. It's just happens to be a problem all over the world, this COVID-19 thing. So that's good that they've got that. Also, the Dolphins have a plan, according to Tom Garfinkel, on how to host fans. Just in case they do have a season, they're going to be able to put some fans in there. But again, the way they're going to host is going to be really, really interesting. Listen to this, okay? They have plans, according to Tom Garfinkel. They revealed mock-ups of new entrances into Hard Rock Stadium that would help adhere to social distancing guidelines. Garfinkel and company, they're always on top of everything. We would have times to come in for security at different gates so people would be separate out in terms of when they enter the stadium, Garfinkel said. We would exit the stadium much like a church environment where each row exits so people aren't filing out all at the same time in a herd. The mock-ups included colored spots on the ground leading up to the entrance gates to designate the distance needed between fans as they file into the stadium. It's a plan not unlike what some restaurants have done for customers, picking up takeout orders during the pandemic. I don't know if you go to, Chipotle, they've got like these little circles, and they're like 6 foot apart, and that's where you're supposed to stand, at one of those circles. So they've got that. So the mock-ups include those colored spots. And it says Hard Rock Stadium can hold approximately 65,000 fans for a football game, but the Dolphins said they might be down to 15,000 fans for the next season as they adjust to a different setup. Now, the question is, how do you do the 15,000? Is it a lottery amongst your season ticket holders? Is that how you do it? And how about this? What about if some of your season ticket holders live out of town? So you've got to plan way ahead for those kind of people. because you can't just tell them the week before the game, oh, you won the lottery, you're in the game this week. And then they've got to buy a plane ticket and get down there?
Do you not think priority would be put on corporate boxes?
I don't
that's
know.
The money.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. How do you treat...
I'm just saying, traditionally, NFL...
Well, yes and no. The corporate guy may have only had his corporate box for 3 years. The guy in Section 340 has had his tickets for 17. How do you do that?
No.
You can't do that. You can't.
No, I can remember back in the day with my dad's 4 and Robbie not paying and him telling, and he didn't care. It was like, fine, we got your 4 tickets back.
Right, yeah, no.
We don't care about it.
I get that, but at this point, I think your best thing is a lottery for your season ticket holders, not single game tickets. You should not get any dibs here on this. The people, or maybe you only put 500 up for a sale every week or something like that out of the 15,000 or something, and use 14,500 for your season ticket holders. And then you have a lottery. So then what you do is, I guess you hold 16 lotteries right away. And then you find out what games you win. And maybe you're only allowed a couple of games because of the numbers, you know?
The only thing, we've seen it with Ticketmaster. Man, there's so much dirty stuff.
No, I know that.
Getting money grabbing. It just, everything along these lines, it's a bad taste in your mouth, man.
No, I get it.
You know, there's some foo stuff going on.
I get it. But, I mean, it's hard, man. It is hard, you know? Garfinkel says, when our fans, players, and staff are able to return to Hard Rock Stadium, we want them to have peace of mind that we're doing everything we can to create the safest and healthiest environment possible. We didn't want to create our own standard. We wanted to be accountable to the most credible third-party standard that exists. Working with the GBAC, the Global Biorisk Advisory Council, this ensures compliances with critical guidelines for the highest standards of cleanliness, and it is our hope that other venues will follow suit as we navigate through these unprecedented times. Now remember, May 9th, at the end of the week, the new schedule will come out. They are planning for a 17-week schedule for 16 games, but they could pare it all the way down to 14, 12, 10 games. So it all depends on how long this thing lasts, that they were able to actually, then implement some of these changes.
One thing I did see this morning, they did announce that until every state that involves NFL teams is able to get together and practice and nobody can start before anybody else. They're all on the same playing field.
Yeah.
You know, which you have to ensure fair competition.
Yeah. And by the way, kudos to, Kudos to the NBA, because they don't want testing right now for their league because there isn't massive testing. And they don't want, I saw where Windhorst was saying that they're going to need somewhere in the neighborhood of 200,000 tests to sequester everybody and test everybody on a consistent basis and all of that. So where the country is right now, they can't go take 200,000 tests away when people need it. And so until they get to the point that you have testing everywhere and at any time, and it's really easy for anybody to get testing, that's when the NBA wants to get to a point where they can restart. And that's the way it should be, because you cannot rub, this into everybody's faces that you're privileged and you're taking advantage of those privileges. And other people that may have symptoms can't even get a test. I mean, that's the weird part. So until we get to a point that anybody and everybody, like I'm dying to take a test. I am. I'll even pay for it if I have to. I want to just take the test just to find out if I had it, if I have it, or I've never had it. Right? It's 3 things. It's not 2. So I got to find out which one's which, just so I can have the peace of mind. I mean, I went to pick up a breakfast at IHOP on Sunday. Okay? And when I didn't walk in because they have a table blocking the doorway. You open the door and that table, that's where they put your food and all, and you got to sign the receipt. So he whips out the receipt and I got to sign it. And I go, oh, man. So I had to walk back to my car to go get my pen because I didn't want to use their pen because that's the pen that everybody else uses. So I go to him, sorry, man, the world we live in. He goes, bro, you're smart. You know what? I don't put it past anybody. I would do the same thing. But that's how ridiculous it is that I had to go get the pen in my car so I could sign, because there's a lot of places that you just put the card and you don't have to sign anything, you're done. Right? Which most places should be like that. But this one, they leave it because they want you to put a tip or something like that. You know what I mean? So I get it, and you leave the tip and whatever, and you move on. But I had to go get my pen because I wasn't wearing gloves. So I wanted to at least make sure I didn't touch anything. And sure enough, as long as I used my pen, I didn't touch anything. Okay, except for the bag. That's it. And, once I got home, I washed my hands. Opened everything up, go wash my hands, then I can go eat my food. That kind of stuff. But that's the world we live in right now. And I love that the NBA is like, we could use our privileges and probably acquire a bunch of tests and be greedy, but we don't have enough tests for our country. So until we get to the point that our country has, tests like crazy, then we want to come back and do this thing. And they're willing to push back the start of next season and everything, which I love all of this. I think the NBA is the one league that is a little bit more on the common sense side than most leagues. At least that's kind of what I see.
It's more of a conscience.
Yeah.
And not going the money grab.
Right.
They
right. The NFL is total money grab.
They're the sports organization with a heart.
Yeah.
How's that?
NFL is the total money grab out of all of this. No doubt in my mind. Carlos Cuesta says, when they opened up Shula Burger in Kendall, I arrived the same time as Coach Shula was there to shoot a promo. I opened the door for the man who was using a walker then. Yeah, and we lost the Shula Burger on 117th and Killian Drive, man. I love that Shula Burger. They would put the Shula imprint on the bun. Their chicken sandwich was really good too. Not only was their burger good, but their chicken sandwich was actually good. Tommy Italian says, Jose Fernandez's death hurt me for a year. I hope he's with Shula. Lisa Rose says, I was symptomatic with a cough, slight fever, not above the assigned value, shortness of breath, still could not get tested here in New York. Exactly. How ridiculous is that? That's unacceptable, Lisa. And you have symptoms. I don't have any symptoms. I just have paranoia. That's all. Like a lot of us. It's human nature to have a little paranoia set in. Aren't you paranoid? Like you don't know if you had it or you haven't had it, right?
With my white cells because of Crohn's and my asthma, I would have known, I think.
Maybe not. Maybe
I get lucky.
You don't know that. Your DNA may not affect you, bro.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with that.
Hey, we've said it. The one thing that we know about this is that we don't know about this.
Right.
There is so much.
There are people that are 80 and 100 years old and sick, and they have gotten over COVID with no problems. And there are people that have succumbed to it like nothing. I mean, that dude that's like 40 and was like stacked, bro. That guy was healthy as a mule. It killed him. No, but it's like the cold. Don't worry about it. That's what people will tell you. It's like the cold. That's why, that's why you can actually be with your loved one when they're dying, just like the cold, right? Yeah, no, Lisa, that's unacceptable that you couldn't get a test. You should be able to get a test. That's until we get to the point that anybody and everybody can get tested. You can go to Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, whatever the type of pharmacies around your part of the country. that you can walk right in. I want a COVID test. No problem. Boom. We tell you results within 5 minutes. Thank you. That's it. We need that. And when we get to that point, that's when we're going to really know where it is in our society, how prevalent it is, all of that. The people that were going crazy in St. Augustine this weekend, getting in the faces of policemen and policewomen out there, because I guess blue lives don't matter at that moment. It's only convenient for them, because those are the same people that were screaming blue lives matter. And then now they're like in the faces of the cops. And then like all the idiots at Huntington Beach this weekend. For those of you, did you see Huntington Beach? Huh, Bill? At all? Did you watch Huntington Beach this weekend? No, right?
I saw a little bit of it.
They were packed.
Yeah.
Packed next to each other. Okay? So if that starts again.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised?
No. I'm actually shocked that it took this long for it to happen. I thought it was going to happen a lot faster. I thought it was going to be from day one, we were going to have people that were going to be. I think that's why we brought the numbers down quickly, because we actually followed rules. But then, we get stir crazy and we're all trapped in our homes and we're dying to get out. So now we start doing stupid things. And now we don't want to believe anything.
There is no doubt in my mind that this winter, this fall, we are going to see this thing resurface and come back with a vengeance.
Lisa says, I have that paranoia too. Anybody testing coming up soon will donate pallets if I can. I would too if I can, if I already had it. I got no problem with that. Yeah, I've seen that guy too. What's with that? I don't know what you're talking about, Tommy. Ryan says, I'm with you. We got to have access to testing like it's M&Ms. Yep. Tommy Italian says, I said the same. You got to. That's when we know how bad this is and how we can control it and what areas are more prevalent than others. But I know that if we keep doing the things we were doing in St. Augustine or in Huntington, we're not really going to control this thing, and we were really putting a crush on this. I hope it stays that way. I hope we kind of get lucky and the numbers keep going down everywhere like they are. I hope there's no rise. And I know that there's a scare, is what Bill's saying, that, when winter rolls around now, we're going to have that second wave and all that they talk about. Here's what I would tell all of you out there. As they open things up, okay, which eventually they're going to have to, because people have to make a living, and I get it, and maybe they're opening it up too soon. What you should do is stay strict to your own policies. Gloves, mask, distance, all of those things. Don't get caught up in crowds. Stay away from crowds. Don't go to any kind of crowded places, bars, concerts, things like that. I'm not. That's the one thing. I'm going to stay paranoid to this until I know it's gone, because I just don't want to take the chance of getting it, because I don't know what it's going to do to me. It may do nothing whatsoever, or it may make my wife a widow. And I don't want to do that. My daughter's studying medicine. I kind of like to see her graduate, So I'd like to see her become a doctor. That's all. That's all I'm asking for. That's it. Then I'll feel good. Good Lord wants to take me then. I'll beg to stay, but okay, I get it. But I got to see my daughter graduate. Got to do that at least. I don't want to check out early, but I don't want to check out because of COVID. I know that to some people out there, it's just like the flu. Too bad, so sad to those people that die. Right? That's basically what they're telling you. Well, no, it's like the flu. Don't worry about it. People die from the flu all the time. So don't worry about if this spreads and kills a whole bunch of other people. If you're too weak to survive it, what can I say? I mean, those people, that's what they're telling me. The people that say that kind of stuff, that's what they're telling me. Loss of life isn't important. people that are losing their lives, it was going to happen anyway. They were going to all die to the flu. So they're just dying of COVID now. Those are the moments that you just kind of scratch your head and you're like, really, dude? Is that what it's all about for you? Oh, my Lord. All right, Toyota of Hollywood, by the way, proud sponsor of our program. We're going to be broadcasting live out there on Thursday. Steve Ostrov and the great folks out there. Number one volume sales dealership when it comes to Toyotas in the Southeast. For the last 6 years in a row, they've got over 400,000 square feet, over 1,500 cars and trucks. So get on down there and take advantage. You can even buy, by phone. You can actually order by phone, and they'll drop it off right at your home. In fact, they feel that area of service is now growing to a point that after this COVID pandemic is done, the folks at Toyota Hollywood feel like that is going to become a new option for a lot of people because a lot of folks in the last 2 months have been buying their cars that way. And the experience is so easy and pain-free that they feel like a lot of people are going to pass that experience on and tell all their friends. And I think a lot of people are going to end up buying cars that way. It's really interesting. So you can do it yourself. Check it out for yourself at Toyota of Hollywood. Follow them on Twitter, by the way, at Toyota Florida. Call them 866-825-5555. That's 866-825-5555. And make sure, if you're buying or leasing a vehicle there, tell them that Big O sent you there. Okay? Very important when you use any of our sponsors, you remind those sponsors that you heard it right here on the program. Okay? Mike No-Go Zone says, I find it ironic that most of the people that are dismissive of death tolls tend to be pro-life. Stay safe, everybody. People are dying and being coded as COVID, although that's not why they died. Okay? Do you have, proof of that? Okay? We all need to have faith. It's easy to get obsessed with worrying. Yeah, well, I know. But how do you not worry? You know what I mean? That's it's almost impossible for me not to worry. When you've got a family and you got to worry. I thought it was weird that non-healthcare facilities like CVS and shopping centers were given free flu shots, and now we have a pandemic that features flu-like symptoms. I don't know. What does that mean? I don't know. We had a discussion over the weekend, and somebody was putting up the CDC numbers. But in the fine print, it clearly says that they need the death certificate for their numbers to be all the way through. So their numbers of people that have died with COVID are lower than the numbers you see, the 60,000 you see on television. So are the 60 a lie now? Is that what they're saying? Or is that the CDC has not gotten the death certificate, so they can't get to 60 yet until they have the 60,000 death certificates?
How about all the senior citizen and health facilities not divulging, and it's against the law now to divulge those numbers?
Right, yeah.
Why? Those people are somebody's grandparents, mothers, fathers. Are you serious?
Yeah. So, whatever. But you can tell, there are people dying all over the damn place, man. Oh, I get it. Everybody is politicized this thing. Again, I don't care about the Democrats. I don't care about the Republicans. I think you're both a bunch of just complete ass clowns. Neither side can ever come up with a good candidate. Every 4 years, I got to vote for the lesser of two evils on one side or the other. It's a joke. And what I love is that the Democrats think that the Republicans don't know what the hell they're doing, and then the Republicans don't think that the Democrats don't know what the hell they're doing. The problem is neither one of them know what the hell they're doing. And so now they're staunch on each side, and for me, I pick on both. So I don't really care. Give me a break. You're giving me Trump, Bernie, Hillary, and Biden to pick from in the last 4 years. Wow. I'm supposed to feel good about those candidates? I get it. Some of you are party zombies, and, whatever Democrat they feed you, you're going to support it no matter what. Whatever Republican they feed you, you're going to support it. You're not going to think on your own. You'll be a party zombie. Whoever they give me, I got to go. Because that's it. I got to be a Republican. I've got to be a Democrat. Even though Joe Biden sucks, but no, I got to vote for him. Even though you know what Trump is, no, I got to vote for him. It's really amazing how some of you lock yourselves into these parties like, I really don't get that. That's the one thing I could never do. I've never done in my life. I voted for both because, again, I'm just voting for the lesser of the two evils most of the time. I don't think I voted for a guy that I felt like, wow, I got a great candidate.
Clinton, maybe?
No, not even that. Not even after watching Clinton for a while. Nah, it was he screwed everything up with the mortgages and everything else. The one thing he did do better than all the other presidents is the deficit never went up or down. It stayed normal.
Oh, you don't remember the tax break that we got?
That's
from
the
him.
only thing.
You got us a tax break.
Yeah.
We got under the deficit.
Yeah, I mean,
there was a surplus of money that one time.
I had an aunt that passed from preconditioned health issues, and she was coded COVID, and we could not have had a funeral service for her. I'm livid over that. Passed from preconditions, health issues. Well, I'm not a doctor, and I don't have any proof. It's simple this year, Big O. Trump must go. Bro, it doesn't matter who you vote for. The guy you're putting in for Trump is just as bad. Don't make yourself feel any better or anything like you're voting something in that's great or something. You're voting in garbage too. It's like it doesn't matter. That's again, I get it. You're a Democrat, so you get your Democrat in, you feel great. To me, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I don't care about either side. I clearly see what's wrong with both sides. So, and neither side comes up with a good candidate. If you're Democrat and you actually think you've got a good candidate, I can't help you. Just like on the Republican side, they're all eating their words and everything and backing up that dude. And they know, I mean, he goes out there and he says 4,000 lies in every press conference. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those deals. So it just, what can I tell you, man? I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe for the Democrats or the Republicans. Just not doing it. I'm not doing it at all. You guys on either side want to do it, you go ahead, man. Richard goes, Trump will win in a landslide. I think Trump wins. Yeah, I actually do think Trump wins. Yeah. The Democrats are so screwed up and they fight amongst each other. I think so. Creepy, sleepy Joe. They're all creepy, bro. They're all creepy. The guy we have in the White House grabs him by the pee, doesn't he? But he'll win. And that's the best part. Now they're going after Biden for some alleged thing that he did to a woman there, supposedly, and he denies and all that. None of that matters. They voted in Trump. They'll vote him in, too. They don't care if they assault women. It doesn't matter. Come on. Clinton, Trump, now Biden, give me a break. None of them, they don't care. Again, you want to be a party zombie, you go ahead and be a party zombie. Any of you actually think you've got a good candidate, you go ahead and knock yourselves out. Either way, our country gets screwed. Doesn't really matter. What happened to sports? It died. Enough politics. Sir, there is no sports, Richard. You know that, right? And by the way, it's 3 hours that I've been on, and so I ended the last couple of minutes just taking shots at Republicans and Democrats. So, Richard, get your little butt-hurt ass out of here if you want. All right? Now, only an asswipe would bring up politics when I've been talking sports for 2 hours and 50 minutes. And in the last 10 minutes, I take a couple shots at both parties. And what, Richard Hampton, is your little butt sore? Are you a Democrat or Republican? Did you get hurt, baby? Huh, Richard Hampton? Is your little booty hurt? Huh? Did I hurt you, Richard? Oh, I'm sorry. Are you a sleepy Joe Biden guy or a Trump guy? Oh, wait, I took a shot at Bernie? Or was it Hillary? Which one was it there, Richard? Huh? What really hurt you? Oh, don't talk politics, because if you don't agree with my politics, you're not allowed to talk politics. Is that your problem, Richard? Is that why you're a little butthurt, Richard? Huh? Sit up from the chair. That way you're not that butthurt, buddy. I love you. I love you folks that you're just mental midgets. That's all. You hear a different opinion, and that's it. I can't stand it anymore. Oh, my God. I'm not talking to you, bitch. This woman records everything I say. This damn bitch records everything I say.
It isn't her. It's other people.
Jesus. Damn. Butthurt Richard. Oh, hell, laughing my ass off. Let's see. Get a picture, dick. Poor Richard. Alexa says, dang, oh. Get him, big O. I mean, no, it's seriously. You know, Hampton goes, but enough politics. If I want politics, I turn to another channel. Bro, then turn to another channel. I talk about whatever the F I want, Richard. Get the F out of here, buddy. That's all. You're not going to dictate what I do and what I don't do on this show. It's called the Big O Show. It's not called the Richard Hampton Show. Okay? So if I feel like taking a shot at anybody, I'm going to do it. If you don't know that by now, if you haven't followed me for 30 years, then you don't know me. Okay? I don't shy away from anything or anyone, period, or any subject, period. Okay? But I'm pretty fair about ripping everybody. So there you go. Because I love it when one of you guys or ladies try to tie me to one side or the other, which never. Okay? All right? I wanted to ask something because we did the last dance yesterday. Okay? And I'm going to leave this for last because I wanted to do all Shula talk once the Shula news broke. But I don't want to get into the last dance too much tomorrow on the show. I'd like to get a little bit back to normal and talking football and NBA and some of the other things going on. Maybe actually MLS might be one of the sports getting close. But I wanted to ask this because I was watching the last dance yesterday. Okay? Is there another MJ in sports right now? Listen to me, okay? Don't jump off the deep end now on my ass. Relax. I'm not talking about MJ like the superstar, championship player, godlike GOAT. I'm talking about the star with mystery. Who is that elite superstar that you don't know really a lot about? Who is that? Like LeBron, you know everything about LeBron. He lets you know about everything about LeBron. What do you got?
Well, since he left the umbrella of the Patriots, Brady has become a little bit more out there, getting busted at the park,
right? So
working out when he's not supposed to. Yeah, because he's not under that structure, that wall, that enclosed.
So he was that guy. Now he's not. That's actually a really good example of what was.
We still don't know a lot. We still don't know a lot, but we know more.
Well, we know a ton now.
Being Brady. Yes.
In that Howard Stern interview, he revealed a ton of stuff there.
He's coming out because he's not under that watchful eye.
So is there a guy now? Because it's really, think about this. There was no social media in those times. There was a lot of things that weren't in the picture in those days. I think reporters were a little bit more respectful and they would cover up stuff. I'll give you an example. I've been on the road and I've seen players with other women. I've been at places where I saw a Dolphin player once turn off a joint on my car. Some of you are like, what? Huh? Explain that one. So
I got one for you.
I'm doing a
Jeter.
I'm doing a, but he doesn't play anymore. I'm doing a TV show, okay? And I used to have Dolphin players on all the time. Every week I would have Dolphin players. So I had this one Dolphin player. No, I'm not saying his name. So we're done, right? And so we're wrapping up, whatever. We're talking in the studio. So I walk out. It had just rained. Okay? So as I'm walking out, I smell weed. And as I turn the corner, I see a big dude, and he's like quickly turning off his joint. And I go, yo, yo. And no, I'm not saying his name. But I screamed his name. I said, yo, what the F are you doing, bro? That's my car. He goes, yo, my bad, man, but I did it on a raindrop. It wasn't on the car itself. And I'm like, and I looked at it, and I go, okay, all right, I got you. Because it was pretty smart, actually, that you have rain pellets on your car, and you get it right on the raindrop, and it's smart. It does turn it off, and it doesn't really hurt the paint or anything, like that. And so, I'm like, all right, that's cool, man. I just, and he goes, I'm sorry, man. I didn't know it was your car. I knew it wasn't going to hurt the car anyways because I was doing it on the raindrop. And I was like, all right, that's cool, man. And he goes, you're not going to say anything. I go, no, man, I don't care about that. That's your business. I go, I'm going to talk about you if you suck. I'm going to talk about you if you get traded. I'm going to talk about you if you whatever you do on the field. See, I'm not even going to tell you what they do. I'm not going to tell you if they caught a touchdown, sacked the guy, kicked the field goal. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not even going to tell you what the player does. But I told him, no, man, I stick to the football stuff, okay? Now, if you get arrested, then I got to report that because you got arrested. But this here, I don't care about it, man. This is the 90s. I didn't care. It was just
my correlation.
I've seen so much worse.
What you said, where people didn't report. Like, how is it the Jeter single with, and they know he was with girls, that it never, like, it's almost like all the press there with all the different papers. Like, kind of, Jeter gets a pass.
I understand that. I understand that,
right?
But that's another person.
Yeah.
I'm saying now. I'm talking about now. Is there a guy like that now?
Virtually impossible because of social media.
Is there a guy that's a superstar that has still some mystery to it? Like Tim Duncan had it for a while too, in a way. You know what I mean? But Jordan was different because Tim Duncan, you knew, was boring. So it wasn't really, there was really nothing to find. Whereas you kind of knew with Jordan, you knew he had a pretty colorful life behind the scenes because you knew he was a gambler and you knew he liked his women and you knew all that other stuff was going on. So you kind of knew that Jordan was, I know this is going to sound wrong for some people, but for some guys it'll sound normal. He's a guy's guy. The guy that likes sports and drinks and smokes cigars and talks BS and all. Guy's guy. The regular guys kind of.
They used to call it a man's man.
A man's man, guy's guy, whatever you want to call it. That's kind of what he is. And that's something that the average guy, not everyone, but the average guy gravitates to. Okay? I'm just being honest here. But is there that guy now that could carry that is that kind of star, maybe, nobody's Jordan, but close to like a Jordan-like, but yet carry that mystery behind it? Is there that guy? Because I was trying to think about it now, and I don't know if that player exists. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is compared to Michael Jordan. Kobe was close to him and maybe Wade. Yeah, but we knew a lot about Kobe. Okay? That's the thing. Kobe's life was kind of out there. From Colorado to ratting on Shaq to all kinds of different things, you kind of knew about Kobe. You know what I mean? Whether it was that he was kind of a jerk at times with people, that he was intense, that he was, a maniac about all kinds. You kind of knew that about Kobe. There wasn't that much mystery. You didn't know jack about Michael. Everything was myth. It was all be like Mike, and it was McDonald's, and it was, just sponsors or whatever. But you really didn't know about all the behind the scenes stuff. He had there was a mystery behind him. You know what I mean? Because he did a lot of good. He did a really good job of masking all of that stuff while he was, living his life outside of basketball.
The fact that a lot of people don't know about his foursomes for his big skins game, and one of them being the mafia guy in Chicago. The other one was the guy that got found guilty of the collusion thing with the gambling in the college games out on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And those were two of the guys that he played with on a regular basis. And supposedly those skin games were for $400,000, $500,000.
He's got a couple bucks.
It just, it just quiet. Like, no, a lot of people don't know that still.
Let's see. Alexa V says, damn, laughing my ass out loud, spilling the tea. Let's see. What else do we have here? DraftKings. Big sad day for Finns fans. Heads up. Times and tides are turning. The whole NFL is about to fear the Dolphins. Josh says, nobody is compared to Michael Jordan. Kobe was close to him. Maybe Wade. Wade did a nice job in a way, but you kind of knew his stuff too with his background and his ex-wife and his current wife and all of that. Let's see what else. Kawhi Leonard or Mike Trout? Those are good ones. Those are really good ones. Although, does Kawhi Leonard have an exciting life behind the scenes, or does he seem boring? And Mike Trout, does he have an exciting life behind the scenes, or does he seem boring? You know what I mean? And I'm going to go with the latter on both. I mean, the most exciting thing I've seen from Mike Trout is him at the golf range, at the Top Golf, hitting the ball out of the entire thing, out of the net and everything. I don't even know that. I don't think the ball's landed yet. But those are two good ones that they have that kind of mystery about them. They have done a nice job. We don't know too much about those guys. Those are two excellent suggestions on your part, because Kawhi keeps us all guessing. We have no idea what he's doing. We have no idea what he likes. I think it's a fantastic one. I think they're both kind of boring, if you ask me, because I think they're just like two good dudes. It's Tony Gwynn and Cal Ripken. I just, you know what I'm saying? Two exceptional people, but I just don't expect them to be party animals. I don't expect them to be having a lot of fun behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of look at those guys the same way, not like Michael. Like Michael, you knew he was having some fun behind the scenes, but he kind of kept it all under wraps all throughout.
Pitching dimes with the
security guard
people.
Yeah, the security guard, by the way, has become a meme. I don't know if you guys know this. Security guard's name. Do you know the security guard's name?
I know he said both of them, and he's like, hey, tell him to get out there and do some securing out there at the arena.
Yes. Okay. Now, his name, I know I wrote it down here somewhere. Where the hell did I write it? Damn it. Here we go. So his name is John Wozniak. Okay? You know what his middle name is? Michael. Michael beat Michael in that quarter toss. I saw that yesterday. And he has become a meme, that thing he did like this, That's a meme now. Now everybody's using it for one thing or another on social media. He passed, by the way, John Wozniak passed away in the last year, so he wasn't able to see himself in this documentary, and he wasn't able to see himself become a meme sensation. And I guarantee you that John Wozniak would have been on talk shows all over the place. People would have brought him on to talk a little bit about his relationship with Michael and taken money from Michael there at the same time. So there. And Wozniak got it on that first shot, too, that Michael puts out the 20 and he throws it and he goes, yeah, you get 3 shots. And he did it on the first one that he beat Michael. So he ends up picking up the money. And little does Wozniak know that he has become a meme to folks out there now on social media. But those are 2 good ones right there, man. Kawhi and Mike Trout, they do have that mystery, but it's not like a Michael one that you know that there's a lot of brewing going on behind the scenes. With Kawhi, the biggest brewing was, is he going to the Clippers or the Lakers? That's about it. Yeah, a red angry Cuban goes, Kawhi, boring. Yeah. I think Mike Trout and Kawhi, because they're just good people. I'm telling you, I gave you 2 great examples, didn't I? Cal Ripken Jr. and Tony Gwynn. 2 exceptional people, but probably really boring. You know? It is what it is. Let's see. What do we got here? Richard McLean, Shula's death puts sports into perspective for me. Tommy Italian, 305 for life. He's going to Alexa. I mean, truly diehard Miami sports fan. So he and Alexa are going back and forth. Ray says, hello, Big O. I say we name the stadium Don Shula Stadium. Nah, it would have to be Don Shula Field at Hard Rock Stadium. They're not going to take away Hard Rock because that's a lot of money, dude. I think it's like $25 million deal that they cut with Hard Rock. And it's all over the place. It's a great name, actually. I really like the name. This is actually, outside of Joe Robbie Stadium, this is actually my favorite name out of all of them, Hard Rock Stadium. It's actually a cool name. I do like it. But it should be, look, in the end, it really should be Joe Robbie Field at Hard Rock Stadium. That's probably what it should be. What you could do, let's do this. Let's call it Joe Robbie Field at Hard Rock Stadium and the Don Shula practice facility. They're going to build a new practice facility there, right? Nobody was better at preparing their teams than Don Shula, because Shula won his games during the week preparing his players mentally and physically. Let's call it the Don Shula practice facility. There you go. Sponsored by whatever you want to get a sponsor by. Okay? The Don Shula practice facility, sponsored by the Cleveland Clinic. That's all. You still get your sponsor. You honor shoes. Okay? Maybe you've got some kind of beautiful, beautiful statue presentation of Shula. Like maybe what you do is you build a small Hall of Fame to Don Shula in the practice facility where fans can go visit it. It's right next to a pro shop. People can check out the memory of Shula, the impact, everything. It could have like a little theater and everything, all those kind of things, and it can become a spot that Dolph fans really, hey, have you seen the Shula exhibit at the practice facility? That's amazing. You got to go to it. That kind of thing. What do you think about that? There you go. Because I don't like that we don't honor Joe Robbie. I mean, if we're going to be honest here, it can't, you have no Shula without Joe Robbie. You understand what I'm saying? You have no Riley without Mickey Arison. It takes the dude with the vision to say, that's the guy that's going to change my franchise and turn everything around. I'm going to go acquire him. because both guys were acquired. So that's how I would handle that. That I would at least have, I gotta honor Robbie and I've got to honor Shula. And it should be Joe Robbie Field at Hard Rock Stadium, and let's make it the Don Shula practice facility presented by the Cleveland Clinic or whoever else you want to use, Doctors Hospital in Coral Gables or whoever. Whatever. That part's above my pay grade. I'm not in charge of that. I can only just give you the ideas.
Go back to Danny Thomas, who started the St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and maybe involved St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and you'll involve the original two Dolphin owners.
But that's
that.
Yeah, but St. Jude's, you're not going to take money from those people. You need a sponsor. You know what I mean? That's not. You can't do that. You can't.
Don't want to take money.
But right. So but you
make
can't,
a name to associate with Danny Thomas.
Yeah,
owner also.
Yeah. But Danny Thomas. Now you got to go with Robbie. Robbie's the guy that needs to be honored, not Danny Thomas. Yeah. No. But no. You got to honor Robbie. NorCal says, I love the Hard Rock Stadium name and love the idea of Don Shula practice facility idea. Well, it should be Joe Robbie Field at Hard Rock Stadium. Red Angry Cuban says, Hard Rock logo looks good on the stadium. It does, man. It looks good. It's a good name. Hard Rock Stadium is a great name. I love it. It was nice when it was Dolphin Stadium for a brief time. Baptist Health sponsors the Fins, so I say the Shula Training Facility. That's fine. Baptist Health, Medical, Cleveland, whatever, bro. I don't care. That part to me is irrelevant. Okay, the money side I don't care about. I just care about honoring Shula and Robbie. Okay, because it does bother me that Joe Robbie lost the team because he had to finance the stadium himself. And then that put everything in peril and, it screwed everything up. And that man sacrificed everything. And he kept the team here and all of that. And his vision, he had it for baseball, for soccer, and that helped us bring baseball here because we could hold a baseball game in that stadium, fill it up, and show people that we could be a baseball town if they actually gave us, the team. And now we need is a great owner, and hopefully we do have one finally. There is no other Michael Jordan. He was built different. Unfortunately, with the way kids are being raised, getting participation trophies, there will never be another. Hard to argue with all of that, right? It really is. Laughing my ass off. I'm a Twitch affiliate, Alexa V. That's why. Oh, okay. You guys continue with your own conversations. I call it Joe Robbie Stadium anyways. Lots of people still call it Joe Robbie Stadium. Yeah. So, I mean, that's normal. But you guys came up, or one gentleman or a lady came up with the two closest, which would be Kawhi and Mike Trout. But they're still not exciting because behind the scenes, they're not having the kind of fun that Jordan was. That's for sure. All right. We got to wrap it up here on the show. We thank all of you for tuning in, as always. I'm going to save a lot of the subjects that we're going to talk about today. We're going to save them for tomorrow, and then we'll add some more guests tomorrow for you, and we'll have a little fun. But I appreciate all of you out there for tuning in, as you always do. On behalf of Bill and Philippe, as always, getting it done. Most of all, we thank all of you out there tuning in. For those of you on the Super Chat, FinFan70, Mario Belvidis, Yuri Nater, George Arthur, Patton Asheville, Alexa V, Tommy Italian 305 for life. All of you out there, so many chiming in on the Super Chat every day. Thank you all for helping us grow like you do. We appreciate you. We love you all out there. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Be good.
Y'all be safe. Rest in peace, Coach Shula.